Chapter 962. What's wrong? I gave you a bone, and you're still not satisfied? Mo Qingyun mocked Lu Xuanqi when he saw his actions. He didn't take Lu Xuanqi seriously at all. After mocking Lu Xuanqi, Mo Qingyun's expression turned cold. He said to Song Wei and the others, "You don't have to talk to such an ungrateful dog. Just slap him and let him know that a dog should have the awareness of being a dog." At this moment, while Mo Qingyun was teaching Song Wei and the others a red figure beside, Mo Qingyun turned into an afterimage and charged towards Lu Xuanqi. Then, everyone saw a huge bloody palm descend from the sky and crush Lu Xuanqi. Slap! Under the slap of the bloody palm, Lu Xuanqi was like a smelly fly. He was directly slapped to the ground and remained motionless. Qi Lian was a half-step supremacy expert. With Lu Xuanqi's level 5 transcendent cultivation, how could he block him? After smacking Lu Xuanqi to the ground, Qi Lian didn't stop moving. He reached out to grab Lu Xuanqi again. Qi Lian grabbed Lu Xuanqi's neck and lifted him up from the ground. Stop! Seeing Qi Lian's actions, the expressions of the accompanying elders from the Saint Book sect instantly changed. Then, the Saint Book sect's elders no longer hesitated and attacked Qi Lian. The moment the Saint Book sect's elders attacked, they released a shocking aura. Their level 9 transcendent cultivation was fully revealed. At the same time, a long stream of words formed around the Saint Book sect's elders. The moment these words appeared, they turned into spears and blades of words and slashed towards Qi Lian's head. Scram! Qi Lian's face darkened when he saw the Saint Book sect's elders attacking. He raised his hand and blasted out a palm. Then, a terrifying blood-colored yuan power exploded from Qi Lian's palm and turned into a huge bloody palm. Once the bloody palm was formed, it crushed towards the Saint Book sect's elders with the force of Mount Tai. Bang, bang, bang. Under the crushing pressure of the sky blood palm, the elders of the Saint Book sect were unable to resist and were sent flying by the sky blood palm. Pucci, after the elders of the Saint Book sect landed on the ground, they all spat out blood and their faces turned pale. However, they didn't care about their injuries. Instead, they looked at Qi Lian in fear and said, "You're the blood refiner demon king, Qi Lian." No one knew blood-refining demon king better than the Saint Book sect. As a vassal sect of the Sky Sword Sacred Mountain, the Saint Book sect had once helped Li He to encircle and annihilate Qi Lian. During this process, many experts of the Saint Book sect had died at Qi Lian's hands. Therefore, the Saint Book sect hated Qi Lian to the bone. Furthermore, the Saint Book sect was undoubtedly the clearest about the characteristics of Qi Lian's techniques. Whoosh! Hearing the words of the elders of the Saint Book sect, the hall burst into an uproar. Everyone's eyes widened. What? That red-haired elder is the blood refiner demon king from 1,000 years ago? Wasn't he killed by the sword Honorable Li He? How'd he come back to life? 1,000 years ago, the blood refiner demon king's cultivation was only at the peak of the transcendent realm. Now, his cultivation seems to have reached the level of a half-transcendent. It's said that 1,000 years ago, the blood refiner demon king defeated a half-transcendent. Does that mean he can kill a half-transcendent now? In an instant, everyone was shocked. Respect for Qi Lian rose in their hearts. Although 1,000 years had passed, Qi Lian's reputation in their hearts showed no signs of weakening. Mr. Qi is the blood refiner demon king. At this moment, not only were the surrounding people shocked, but Song Luo and the others were also shocked when they knew Qi Lian's true identity. They had never thought that the red-haired elder beside them, who usually didn't smile, would be a murderous demon from 1,000 years ago. This news was too unexpected for them. It was too hard for them to accept. However, compared to the shock of Qi Lian's true identity, Song Luo and the others were even more shocked that a ruthless person like Qi Lian would submit to Mo Qingyun wholeheartedly. Immediately, Song Luo and the others' admiration for Mo Qingyun increased by many times. Master, you can even subdue the blood refiner demon king. That's really admirable. Even the blood refiner demon king submitted to Grand Uncle. We are really lucky to be able to submit to him. After knowing Qi Lian's identity, Song Luo, Song Wei, and the others were shocked. A strong feeling rose in their hearts. Ha! I didn't think that after so many years, there would still be people in the Saint Book sect who would remember me. Seeing that the elders of the Saint Book sect recognized him, Qi Lian didn't hide his identity. He sneered and said, "However, after so many years, the Saint Book sect hasn't changed at all. You are still the most loyal dogs of the sky, sword, sacred mountain." Hearing Qi Lian's mocking words, the elders of the Saint Book sect were furious. They didn't know how to refute Qi Lian. Qi Lian's words were true. Although the Saint Book sect was half a sect, they had always been in cahoots with the Sky Sword Sacred Mountain. Seeing that the elders of the Saint Book sect had nothing to refute, Qi Lian didn't want to waste time talking to them. He carried Lu Xuanqi to Mo Qingyun and asked, "Young lord, how should we deal with this brat?" At that moment, when Qi Lian was asking Mo Qingyun, Lu Xuanqi's lips moved slightly as if he was mumbling something. Seeing Lu Xuanqi's actions, the corners of Mo Qingyun's mouth curled up slightly. He sneered and said, "A battle of words? Since your mouth is so powerful, I want to see if your mouth is more powerful or if my palm is more powerful." After Mo Qingyun finished speaking, he didn't hesitate and directly slapped Lu Xuanqi. Slap, 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 slap. With Mo Qingyun's actions, a series of crisp slaps sounded from Lu Xuanqi's mouth. In a short while, Lu Xuanqi's mouth was swollen like a pig's head. His original appearance was unrecognizable. However, Mo Qingyun didn't stop there. Instead, he continued to slap Lu Xuanqi's mouth. Seeing Mo Qingyun's actions, some of the people who had been instigated by the 3 sacred mountains finally couldn't take it anymore. They said unhappily, "Mo Qingyun, Lu Xuanqi is the same as you and me. He is a 3rd-generation disciple of a major sect. This is a fair fight between us. Why do we need to involve the elders of our sects? Finally, you can't take it anymore." Chapter 963. As soon as Mo Qingyun finished speaking, he slowly stood up and walked towards the person. With every step Mo Qingyun took, the pressure on this person's body increased by a notch. When Mo Qingyun was 10 meters away from the person lost his footing and took a step back, knocking into the table behind him. Asterisk clang. Asterisk under this person's collision, the table was directly knocked to the side, making a series of ear-piercing sounds. After seeing this scene, the expressions of the surrounding people changed, and their expressions revealed intense shock. Mo Qingyun had actually made Wang Su lose his mind with just his aura, causing fear to appear in his heart. As a result, what could Wang Su use to fight against Mo Qingyun? Wang Su is a heaven's pride from a pseudo-sovereign faction, the music rhythm sect. He specializes in the power of the soul. The strength of his mental state far surpasses his peers. How could he be frightened by Mo Qingyun? This scene is truly too strange. It looks like Mo Qingyun is truly not simple. No wonder he could subdue the Mispon sect. It looks like the first guest seat was not arranged for the Mispon sect, but for Mo Qingyun's faction. That's right. Mo Qingyun's faction can recruit the Blood Refinement Demon King. They are indeed qualified to sit in the first guest seat. It's just that Mo Qingyun is too sharp. He's offended several pseudo-sovereign factions in succession. This may not be a good thing for his faction. At this moment, everyone's impression of Mo Qingyun could not help but change. In their opinion, Mo Qingyun's current actions were truly a little reckless. Mo Qingyun did not pay attention to what everyone thought. Instead, he looked at Wang Su with a mocking expression and said, "Are you afraid?" Hearing Mo Qingyun's words, Wang Su's face immediately flushed red. He did not know how to refute Mo Qingyun. Just a moment ago, he was indeed afraid. He had been frightened by Mo Qingyun's aura. But could he say such a thing out loud? If he said it out loud, then not only would he, Wang Su, have no face to see others in the future, even their music rhythm school would become the laughingstock of others. Seeing that Wang Su was at a loss for words, Unable to refute Mo Qingyun's question, everyone's gaze towards him involuntarily changed once again. From the looks of it, Wang Su was indeed frightened by Mo Qingyun's imposing manner just now. Seeing the mocking eyes of the people around him and the actions of pointing at him, Wang Su's face instantly darkened, and he said angrily, "Mo Qingyun, you've gone too far." As soon as he finished speaking, Wang Su took out a zither and laid it flat on his lap. He raised his hand and played the zither strings. A mighty army of 1,000, armored cavalry in formation. Under Wang Su's vibrations, the zither strings immediately erupted with an astonishing aura, producing numerous sharp soul sound waves. As soon as these soul sound waves appeared, they turned into armored warhorses and charged towards Mo Qingyun. Bang, bang, bang. Under the impact of these soul sound waves, the surrounding ground and tables were instantly blown away, causing the scene to become a little messy. At the same time, the expressions of the people seated at the surrounding tables changed, revealing a trace of shock. This is the war song Wang Su created in the Heaven Spirit Tomb 5 years ago, Mighty Army of 1,000. It's said that Wang Su relied on this war song to not lose a single battle against an expert at the high level of the ability stage, and even injured his opponent's mind. Mo Qingyun is only at the 4th level of the ability stage. If the Blood Refiner Demon King didn't protect him, he probably wouldn't have been able to block Wang Su's attack. Seeing Wang Su attack with his full strength, the expressions of the surrounding people changed, and they couldn't help but feel worried for Mo Qingyun. So he's from a music rhythm school. No wonder he stepped forward to help Lu Xuanqi. After learning of Wang Su's origins, Mo Qingyun's expression darkened, and he said in a disdainful tone, "This song can be used to liven things up, but it's still a little lacking if you want to use it to kill someone." Such arrogant words. Do you know music as well? Hearing Mo Qingyun's words, Wang Su's expression darkened, and he retorted to Mo Qingyun, "Primordial demonic sound, lute instrument talisman, come out." Mo Qingyun didn't reply to Wang Su's mocking words, and he directly took out the primordial demonic sound lute instrument talisman. Then, a jade talisman in the shape of a pipa appeared above Mo Qingyun, exuding an obscure aura. BZZ. At the same time, illusory sound waves were released from the primordial demonic sound lute instrument talisman, bombarding the sound wave cavalry. Clang, clang, clang. When the illusory sound waves hit the sound wave cavalry, the sound of weapons clashing rang out, and an astonishing soul storm erupted. Under the impact of this soul storm, the expressions of the surrounding people changed, and they all retreated. PFFF, PFFF, PFFF. Some of the weaker cultivators weren't able to dodge in time and were injured mentally. They spat out mouthfuls of blood, and their faces paled. Following this scene, the expressions of the surrounding people changed. They were shocked by the intensity of the battle between Mo Qingyun and Wang Su. One had to know that those who could sit in this hall were the strongest of the Tianhan continent. And those who could be sent here were either the leaders of their respective factions or the genius disciples of their respective factions. But even so, these people were still injured by the battle between Mo Qingyun and Wang Su. From this, one could see just how intense the battle between Mo Qingyun and Wang Su was. While everyone was still reeling from the battle between Mo Qingyun and Wang Su, the sound wave cavalry slowly dispersed. The illusory sound waves didn't slow down in the slightest after defeating the sound wave cavalry, and they continued to bombard Wang Su. Wang Su's expression changed at the sight of the rapidly approaching sound wave, and he revealed a strong sense of fear. He could clearly feel that the illusory sound waves contained a frightening amount of soul energy. If he was hit, he would be gravely injured. It was even possible that these injuries would affect his future cultivation, limiting his future achievements. Wang Su couldn't care less. He hurriedly shouted to a young man with a golden crown, "Master Guangling, save me." Trash! Guangling's expression turned cold at Wang Su's request. His eyes flashed with disgust as he spoke with dissatisfaction. But despite his displeasure, Guangling still moved. He drew his sword and slashed at Mo Qingyun. You want to meddle in my business? Mo Qingyun's lips curled into a sneer as he looked at Guangling, who was slashing at him. His gaze turned gloomy. Mo Qingyun didn't hesitate. He drew the colorless sword and slashed at Guangling. The combination of three sources, Mo Qingyun slashed casually, and the colorless sword bloomed with three colors. It turned into a sharp sword light and slashed at Guangling, colorless sword. You are the one who seriously injured junior fellow apprentice Fang Yuan. Chapter 964. Three types of perfected innate powers of origin. Looking at the incoming three-colored sword ray, Guangling was shocked at first. Then he said disdainfully, although you have some achievements in the comprehension of origin energy, the sword technique you used is too crude. You can't hurt me with just this sword technique. When a warrior broke through to the transcendent realm, he would integrate the origin energy he comprehended into the transcendent treasure elephant. It would be called innate origin energy. On the other hand, after a warrior broke through to the transcendent realm, the origin energy he comprehended would be called acquired origin energy. This was because once the transcendent treasure elephant was formed, the origin energy could no longer be integrated into it and fused with the transcendent treasure elephant. As Guangling finished speaking, he waved the long sword in his hand with all his might, causing a shocking origin energy to erupt from the long sword. As soon as the shocking origin energy was released, it turned into a sharp sword ray and blasted towards the three-colored sword ray. Puff! Facing Guangling's sword, the three-colored sword ray was instantly defeated and turned into specks of light that dissipated. However, after Guangling's sword defeated the three-colored sword ray, it also dissipated in midair. Puff! At the same time, Wang Su was also hit by the magical sound wave. He spat out a mouthful of blood and flew out. After blocking Guangling's attack, Mo Qingyun turned to look at Guangling and said, I didn't expect this attack to injure you. I just wanted to use it to block you. As for you, even if you used your full strength against me, you wouldn't be able to stop me from seriously injuring Wang Su. Hearing Mo Qingyun's words, Guangling's face turned gloomy and his eyes revealed a strong killing intent. Mo Qingyun's words were undoubtedly a great insult to him, indirectly mocking him for being useless. So what if Guangling attacked? In the end, under Mo Qingyun's attack, Wang Su was directly heavily injured to the point that his divine soul was injured. Oomph. I just casually swung my sword. Next, I'll show you my true strength. As Guangling spoke, he pointed his long sword at Mo Qingyun, intending to kill Mo Qingyun right here and now to avenge his humiliation. With regards to Guangling's actions, Mo Qingyun did not seem to mind at all. His expression was indifferent as he turned around and said, Today is the day that the heavenly pool, sacred mountain, reopens. If you want to fight with me, then follow me out. Otherwise, you will ruin the banquet set up by the heavenly pool, sacred mountain. With that, Mo Qingyun no longer paid any attention to Guangling and walked out of the hall. Seeing Mo Qingyun's actions, Guangling and the others hesitated, wondering if they should follow Mo Qingyun. This time, their main purpose of coming to the heavenly pool sacred mountain was to ruin the banquet. Originally, they thought that if they were to engage in an intense battle with Mo Qingyun, they would be able to destroy the banquet at the heavenly pool sacred mountain. Who knew that Mo Qingyun would suddenly suggest to fight outside? This instantly messed up their plans. At that moment, while Guangling and the others were hesitating, Mo Qingyun, who had walked to the entrance of the hall, stopped. He turned his head to look at Guangling and mocked. Didn't you say that you were powerful just now? Why did you become a coward when it's time to fight? Don't tell me that all the sects in the Sky Sword Sacred Mountain are trash like you who only know how to talk and not practice. Brat, don't be so arrogant. Hearing Mo Qingyun's words, even if Guangling had a good temper, he could no longer remain calm. Furthermore, Guangling was not someone who was easy to talk to. Naturally, he was even more furious. At that moment, Guangling was not the only one who was furious. Even the other members of the Sky Sword Sacred Mountain were enraged. As for the forces that were attached to the Sky Sword Sacred Mountain, they were all furious in order to seize the opportunity to curry favor with the Sky Sword Sacred Mountain. In an instant, Mo Qingyun's words seemed to have angered everyone. At that moment, while everyone was enraged by Mo Qingyun's words, Guangling walked out of the hall. At that moment, he could no longer care about anything else. The only thought in his mind was to kill Mo Qingyun on the spot. Seeing the reaction of Guangling and the others, Mo Qingyun smiled satisfactorily and walked towards the training ground of the Sky Pool Sacred Mountain. He had achieved his goal. Now, he had completely diverted the attention of the 3 Sacred Mountain people from the Sky Pool Sacred Mountain from destroying the banquet to him. Mo Qingyun was undoubtedly very familiar with the terrain of the Sky Pool Sacred Mountain. Soon, Mo Qingyun arrived at the training ground and waited for Guangling and the others to arrive. Soon, Guangling and the others arrived at the training ground of the Sky Pool Sacred Mountain aggressively. At that moment, other than the people from the Sky Sword Sacred Mountain, there were also many people from other forces who had arrived at the training ground. They wanted to see how Mo Qingyun would resolve the current situation. Kid die. Guangling arrived at the training ground and did not say much to Mo Qingyun. Instead, he slashed at Mo Qingyun with his sword. Suddenly, a terrifying aura exploded from the long sword in Guangling's hand. A sword radiance that was 10 meters long shot out from it. Kid, I will now show you the power of the fusion of the 4 origin energies. After Guangling slashed out with his sword, he revealed a proud expression and said arrogantly. After Guangling slashed out with his sword, the surrounding people's expressions changed drastically. They were shocked by the power of Guangling's sword. 4 types of origin energies. Guangling is indeed a genius of the Sky Sword Sacred Mountain. It seems like he has few opponents in the same rank as him. Humph! A bunch of mediocre people without foresight. Can't you see that senior brother Guangling's Sword Force realm has reached the minor accomplishment stage? Minor accomplishment stage of Sword Force realm. Guangling's talent in Sword Principle is really unattainable. That's right. Even experts at the peak of the Divine Power realm rarely comprehend Sword Force to such an extent. Guangling's only at the 6th level of the Divine Power realm. The difference in strength between Guangling and Wang Su is too great. With his strength, he can probably fight against experts at the 8th level of the Divine Power realm. Mo Qingyun's provocation of him was an unwise choice. Seeing Guangling's attack, the surrounding people's expressions changed drastically. Their eyes were filled with intense shock. Obviously, the strength that Guangling displayed had completely shattered their understanding. However, compared to the shock of the surrounding people, Mo Qingyun's expression was indifferent. He said disdainfully, "It's just 4 types of origin energies. Moreover, the 2 types of origin energies, fire and metal, were comprehended after your cultivation broke through to the Divine Power realm. Humph! Even so, it's enough to kill you." Chapter 965. 5 Origins as One. Faced with Guangling's fierce attack, Mo Qingyun did not hesitate and waved the colorless sword in his hand. With a wave of Mo Qingyun's colorless sword, 5 kinds of dazzling light bloomed and turned into a gorgeous 5-colored sword ray. The 5-colored sword radiance blossomed from the colorless sword and met Guangling's strike with the force of a thunderbolt. Bang, bang, bang. The 2 sword rays collided in midair and bloomed like fireworks, falling from the sky bit by bit. Behind this magnificent radiance, an astonishing Yuan power storm was silently forming. Very quickly, at the place where the 2 sword gleams collided, a storm of elemental energy formed and spread wildly towards the surroundings. Mo Qingyun and Guangling retreated swiftly under the effects of the Yuan energy storm, and they avoided the sweeping of the Yuan energy storm. After a while, Mo Qingyun and Guangling stopped and stood in the middle of the martial arts practice field, staring at each other. 5 types of perfected innate origin powers. Guangling's face was filled with shock as he recalled the perfect Xiantian source energy contained in Mo Qingyun's sword strike. He found it hard to believe. Mo Qingyun had comprehended 5 types of perfected innate origin powers. Of course, while Guangling was in disbelief, he also felt ashamed. Just a moment ago, he was still proud that he had comprehended 4 types of perfected innate origin powers. But in the blink of an eye, Mo Qingyun had displayed 5 types of perfected innate origin powers. Moreover, there were 5 types of perfected innate origin powers. It was like a slap to his face. And it was a slap to his face while asking him, "Are you still proud of comprehending 4 types of innate origin powers?" This feeling made Guangling very unhappy. Wow. While Guangling was shocked, the surrounding crowd was in an uproar. If Mo Qingyun's comprehension of 3 types of perfected innate origin powers had already shocked them, now, Mo Qingyun had displayed 5 types of perfected innate origin powers, which completely stunned them. Sect Master Wang. Have you heard of a genius who has comprehended 5 types of origin energy? This old man has lived for more than 400 years, but I have never heard of such a genius. Perhaps this old man's knowledge is too shallow. If I remember correctly, there was a genius in the antiquity times 10,000 years ago. He comprehended 5 types of perfect congenital origin powers when he was in the Heaven Star realm. Doesn't this mean that Mo Qingyun is the number 1 person in the past 10,000 years? Hiss! What monstrous comprehension! For a moment, the way everyone looked at Mo Qingyun changed greatly. They really did not expect that Mo Qingyun's talent in comprehending the power of origin was actually the first person in the past 10,000 years. This title seemed to be a little too big. Now, do you still think that your 4 complete origin powers are very impressive? Mo Qingyun asked Guangling with a sarcastic smile after dissolving Guangling's sword light with a sword. Hearing Mo Qingyun's question, Guangling's expression could not help but twitch. His expression was extremely gloomy, and he snorted coldly. Humph! Even if your comprehension of origin energy is astonishing, a competition of the way of the sword still places more emphasis on the comprehension of sword force and a mastery of sword techniques. It's not like the more origin energy you comprehend, the stronger you are. Qilin Dazzling Sun Sword. Fire Qilin Prairie Fire. Guangling slashed out with his sword, and a shocking flame power instantly erupted from his long sword, turning into a fire Qilin sword light. Roar! A powerful, beastly roar came from the fire Qilin sword light. At the same time, a terrifying flame also erupted from the fire Qilin sword light, instantly turning the entire martial arts practice field into a sea of fire. However, compared to the aura of the sea of fire, what really shocked people was the power of the sword momentum in the fire Qilin sword light. This was the power of the intermediate minor success sword momentum. Sensing the power of the fire Qilin sword light, everyone's expression changed again. They were shocked by Guangling's sword momentum realm. The intermediate minor success sword momentum realm. It seems that when the Honorable's sword broke through to the Supreme realm, he was only at the advanced minor success sword momentum realm, right? Guangling is really impressive. He's worthy of being the Honorable Sword's proud disciple. If he continues to grow, he'll definitely be another Supreme Sword Principal. Although Mo Qingyun's talent in the comprehension of the power of origin is amazing, he still can't compare to Guangling in the competition of Sword Principal. The use of the power of origin in battle is indeed far inferior to the power of the sword momentum. I'm afraid that Mo Qingyun will still be defeated in this confrontation. Seeing Guangling's shocking talent in Sword Principal, everyone's confidence in Mo Qingyun instantly weakened. Presumably, everyone felt that since Mo Qingyun's talent in comprehending the power of origin had reached such a shocking level, his talent in comprehending the power of sword momentum should be far inferior to Guangling's. As such, it would be very difficult for Mo Qingyun to win this battle. After all, Mo Qingyun's cultivation was only at the 4th level of the divine power realm. Mo Qingyun ignored everyone's thoughts. Instead, he looked at Guangling with disdain and said with a smile, "Who told you that I haven't comprehended the power of sword momentum? 6 origins in 1. As Mo Qingyun's words fell, he slashed at Guangling again, displaying his strength a little more. Immediately, the colorless sword bloomed with 6 different colors of light, and a 6-colored sword light burst out from it. When the 6-colored sword light burst out, it bombarded Guangling with an irresistible force. 6 types of perfected innate power of origin. Seeing the rapidly approaching 6-colored sword light, Guangling's expression finally changed drastically. His eyes widened as he uttered a shocking sentence. However, just as Guangling's words left his mouth, his expression became even more shocked. He said, This is the peak of the minor accomplishment sword momentum. You actually comprehended the peak of the minor accomplishment sword momentum." After a brief moment of shock, Guangling revealed a blank expression as he suffered a strong blow in his heart. Originally, he had planned to use his achievement in sword momentum to redeem the dignity he had just lost. However, what he did not expect was that in the competition of sword momentum achievements, he actually lost even more miserably than before. This battle could be said to be a crushing defeat for him. At this moment, under Mo Qingyun's powerful attack, Guangling's martial heart was directly destroyed. Bang! While Guangling was in a daze, the 6-colored sword light instantly blasted his body and sent him flying. Puff! After being hit by the 6-colored sword light, Guangling instantly spat out a mouthful of blood and lay on the ground with a pale face. His gaze was unfocused, and he did not move at all. However, everyone knew in their hearts that compared to the injury on his body, Guangling's mental injury was more serious. Chapter 966. Guangling. Senior Brother Guangling. Junior Brother Guangling. When everyone from the Sky Sword Sacred Mountain saw that Guangling was heavily injured, they all revealed nervous expressions and came to Guangling's side to check on his injuries. At this moment, a blue-clothed elder from the Sky Sword Sacred Mountain squatted down beside Guangling. After examining Guangling's injuries, this half-venerable blue-clothed elder furrowed his brows tightly and remained silent. Seeing the blue-clothed elder remain silent, the people from the Sky Sword Sacred Mountain asked anxiously, "Supreme Elder Fu Chong, how are Guangling's injuries?" "Sigh. Guangling's physical injuries aren't serious, but the damage to his willpower is extremely serious." Supreme Elder Fu Chong sighed when he heard that. He revealed a helpless expression and said in a deep voice, "If Guangling can't walk out from this blow, I'm afraid that a demon will form in his heart, and it will greatly affect his cultivation today. It might even cause his achievements in this lifetime to stop here." Clang, clang, clang. When they heard Supreme Elder Fu Chang's words, the disciples of the Sky Sword Sacred Mountain were instantly enraged, and they all pointed their swords at Mo Qingyun. However, Guangling, who was lying on the ground, was indifferent towards the actions of the disciples of the Sky Sword Sacred Mountain. He stared blankly at the sky. When they saw Guangling's actions, the anger in the hearts of the people from the Sky Sword Sacred Mountain couldn't help but become more intense. Mo Qingyun was truly too ruthless. He directly crushed Guangling's martial heart, causing him to be unable to recover from the setback and lose his will to fight. "Kid, I'm going to kill you." A disciple of the Sky Sword Sacred Mountain, with a cultivation at the peak of the 6th level of the divine power realm, brandished the longsword in his hand and slashed at Mo Qingyun. He wanted to avenge Guangling. "Chen Huai, don't be rash. You're not his match." When he saw this youth's actions, a white-robed youth from the Sky Sword Sacred Mountain raised his hand to stop him. "Senior Brother Shui Weiyang, you must kill this kid and avenge Senior Brother Guangling." When he saw the white-robed youth's actions, Chen Huai revealed an expression of grief and indignation as he spoke those words. After that, Chen Huai stopped attacking Mo Qingyun and he turned around and walked behind Shui Weiyang. Don't worry, I will definitely avenge Guangling. Shui Weiyang indifferently nodded her head in response to Chun Huai's words. She took a step forward and lifted her head towards the elders of the Heavenly Pool Sacred Mountain. Seniors of the Heavenly Pool Sacred Mountain, we have come to congratulate the reopening of the Heavenly Pool Sacred Mountain. Now that my junior has been seriously injured, shouldn't you give us an explanation? When they saw Shui Weiyang's actions, the expressions of everyone changed, and they started whispering to each other. Shui Weiyang is indeed the brain of the Sky Sword Sacred Mountain. With just a few words, the Sky Pool Sacred Mountain was dragged into the water. This move is truly ruthless. You're all underestimating Shui Weiyang. He seems to be forcing the Heavenly Pool Sacred Mountain to attack Mo Qingyun, but in reality, he's warning the Heavenly Pool Sacred Mountain not to interfere. Based on what you've said, could it be that Shui Weiyang intends to personally deal with Mo Qingyun? Naturally, with Mo Qingyun's powerful background, the Heavenly Pool Sacred Mountain will not really kill Mo Qingyun. Looks like Shui Weiyang is certain that the Heavenly Pool Sacred Mountain will not kill Mo Qingyun. Therefore, he wants to use this to force the Heavenly Pool Sacred Mountain to not interfere, so that he can kill Mo Qingyun. Shui Weiyang's move is truly ruthless. He's directly cut off Mo Qingyun's escape route. If that's the case, I'm afraid that Mo Qingyun will be in trouble. The Sky Sword Sacred Mountain has quite a number of people here. Looking at the white-robed youth below, the expressions of the surrounding people who were familiar with him changed drastically. While the crowd was whispering to each other, the elders of the Heavenly Pool Sacred Mountain revealed a difficult expression. They did not know how to respond to Shui Weiyang. It was clearly impossible for them to make a move against Mo Qingyun. But if they didn't express their stance right now, wouldn't others misunderstand and think that they were protecting Mo Qingyun? It had to be said that Shui Weiyang's words were too vicious. They directly hit the Heavenly Pool Sacred Mountain's weak spot. Seeing the expressions of the elders of the Heavenly Pool Sacred Mountain, Mo Qingyun raised his hand and looked at Shui Weiyang. He said indifferently, "This matter has nothing to do with the Heavenly Pool Sacred Mountain. It's just that I personally don't like the Sky Sword Sacred Mountain. If you want to make a move, come at me. You can choose to fight me one-on-one or as a group." Mo Qingyun's words caused the expressions of the surrounding people to change drastically. Every one of them revealed a look of shock. Mo Qingyun's words were too arrogant. In the Heavenly Soul Continent, there were only a handful of people who dared to provoke the Sky Sword Sacred Mountain. Even a Heavenly Pool Sacred Mountain would not dare to fight the Sky Sword Sacred Mountain head-on unless they had no other choice. Brat, you sure talk big. Do you think the Blood Refiner Demon King is enough to protect you? Elder Fu Chang from the Sky Sword Sacred Mountain said angrily when he saw Mo Qingyun's arrogance. Crouching Tiger, Domineering Spear, for the future of the Heavenly Soul Continent, the three of us will work together to destroy the Blood Refiner Demon King and this little demon. Good. This old man would like to experience the skills of the famous Blood Refiner Demon King from 1,000 years ago. Crouching Tiger, this old man has the same intention. Upon hearing Half-Sovereign Fu Chang's suggestion, Half-Sovereign Tiger and Half-Sovereign Domineering Spear smiled darkly and moved to Half-Sovereign Fu Chang's side. After seeing this scene, everyone's expression changed drastically. Their expressions became grave. The Beast Sacred Mountain, Sky Spear Sacred Mountain, and Sky Sword Sacred Mountain were prepared to work together to deal with Mo Qingyun and the Blood Refiner Demon King. If that was the case, Mo Qingyun and the others would be in an even more precarious situation. Even though Qi Lian's fame had spread far and wide, the crowd still did not believe that he could win against three half-venerables by himself. If Qi Lian couldn't suppress the three demigods, then Mo Qingyun and the others wouldn't stand a chance against Shui Weiyang and the others. Seeing the scene before them, Song Luo and the others had the same thought as the people around them. Their expressions all turned grave. At this moment, if it weren't for the scene in Mo Qingyun Town, there was no need for the people from the three divine mountains to make a move. In contrast to Song Luo and the others' worries, Mo Qingyun and Qi Lian were indifferent. They didn't see the three demigods as a threat at all. Song Luo, take everyone to the side. Leave this to me and Qi Lian. Mo Qingyun glanced at Fu Chong and the others before he spoke to Song Luo behind him. Then, he lifted his foot and walked forward. Qi Lian didn't hesitate when he saw Mo Qingyun walking forward. He quickly followed behind Mo Qingyun. Mo Qingyun took a couple of steps forward before turning his head to look at Qi Lian beside him. He instructed, Qi Lian, you will delay the three great half-sovereigns for a moment. Once I finish off the other people from the three great divine mountains, I will come and assist you. Young lord, don't worry. Even though the three demigods aren't weak, this old servant is confident that he can suppress them. Qi Lian smiled and replied confidently when he heard Mo Qingyun's words. All right, let's fight. Chapter 967. When Mo Qingyun attacked Shui Weiyang, Qi Lian did not hesitate and attacked Fu Chong and the other two demigod venerables. Seeing Mo Qingyun attack Shui Weiyang, the faces of the Sky Sword Sacred Mountain's disciples sank. They held their swords and slashed at Mo Qingyun. Form a 9 temples demon slaying sword formation. Shui Weiyang's face was cold when she saw the people behind her unsheathing their swords and attacking. As soon as she finished speaking, Shui Weiyang no longer hesitated. She held her sword and formed a sword formation with the others. Soon, Shui Weiyang and the 17 disciples of the Sky Sword Sacred Mountain formed 2 sword formations with imposing auras. As the 2 sword formations formed, Shui Weiyang's face turned serious again. She instructed the disciples of the Sky Sword Sacred Mountain, combine the 2 formations and form the Yin-Yang 9 temples demon slaying sword formation. Yes, after receiving Shui Weiyang's instructions, the disciples of the Sky Sword Sacred Mountain responded and exchanged positions with each other. Soon, Shui Weiyang and the other 17 disciples of the Sky Sword Sacred Mountain formed a Tai Chi sword formation. Following the formation of the sword formation, an even more terrifying aura erupted from it and enveloped the entire martial arts practice field. At the same time, 2 streaks of yin-yang sword chi, one black and one white, erupted from the yin-yang 9 temples demon slaying sword formation. After the yin-yang sword chi erupted, it bombarded Mo Qingyun and instantly destroyed the 5-colored sword radiance that Mo Qingyun had slashed out. Sword formation. Seeing Shui Weiyang and the others attack, Mo Qingyun could not help but frown. His expression turned serious. He could feel that the power of the Yin-Yang 9 temples demon slaying sword formation was enough to threaten an ordinary demigod venerable expert. Looks like I need to show some trump cards to deal with Shui Weiyang and the others. Mo Qingyun waved the colorless sword to destroy the yin-yang sword chi that was attacking him. At the same time, he thought of a countermeasure. After waving the colorless sword to destroy the yin-yang sword chi, Mo Qingyun's body gently floated back. He stood in the air and stared at Shui Weiyang and the others. At this moment, Shui Weiyang and the others stopped their attacks as well. Each of them looked at Mo Qingyun with sneers on their faces. At that moment, when Mo Qingyun and Shui Weiyang were facing off against each other, the surrounding crowd revealed shocked expressions. That's the Yin-Yang 9 temples demon vanquishing sword array. It said that after forming this sword array, the strength of the person forming it will increase tenfold. 10 times? In that case, wouldn't the overall combat strength of Shui Weiyang and the others be comparable to a quasi-exalt? However, it's still a bit difficult to defeat a half-exalted expert. However, it's not difficult to remain undefeated. With Mo Qingyun's level 4 transcendent power, he should be proud of himself for being able to withstand the sword formation of Shui Weiyang and the others. Looking at Mo Qingyun and the others in the center of the square, everyone's expression changed. In their hearts, Their evaluation of Mo Qingyun rose once again. A sword array that could threaten a half-step venerable powerhouse had erupted with a powerful attack, but Mo Qingyun had easily neutralized it. From this, it could be seen how extraordinary Mo Qingyun was. While everyone was discussing Mo Qingyun, Shui Weiyang, and the others, a young man from Sacred Beast Mountain, wearing a vest made of tiger pelt, sneered. With Mo Qingyun's talent and potential, if he's allowed to grow, I'm afraid it'll be difficult for him to find a match among those of the same cultivation level. Such a person must not be allowed to grow. Am I right, Liang Unju? If even you, Gu Fei, say so, then this brat must not be allowed to live. Hearing the words of the young man in the vest made of tiger pelt, a young man from Sacred Sword Mountain holding a silver spear in his hand revealed a cold smile. After the two exchanged glances, they instantly understood the meaning in each other's eyes. Mo Qingyun must not be allowed to live. He had to die. At this moment, everyone's attention was attracted by the conversation between Gu Fei and the young man. That's the #1 genius of Sacred Beast Mountain, Gu Fei. Rumor has it that he has subdued a monster with the bloodline of the Azure Dragon, the Nine-Clawed Azure Bull. I heard that Gu Fei's Nine-Clawed Azure Bull is currently condensing its 8th claw. Once the 8th claw is successfully condensed, it will be comparable to a half-exalt expert. The young man with the silver spear is the #1 genius of Sacred Sky Spear Mountain, Liang Unju. The silver spear in his hand is a top-grade spiritual weapon, the Silver Dragon Spear. Rumor has it that the top-grade spiritual weapon, the Silver Dragon Spear, has been in Sacred Spear Mountain Spear Pavilion for thousands of years. No one has been able to obtain its recognition. I didn't expect Liang Unju to obtain it. Gu Fei and Liang Unju are both dragons among men. If they also attack Mo Qingyun, Mo Qingyun's situation will be even worse. Recognizing the identity of these two young men, everyone immediately began to talk about their deeds. Their expressions revealed reverence. There was no doubt that the two young men's strength was very strong. They were already close to the older generation's experts. At this moment, when everyone was discussing the deeds of Gu Fei and Liang Unju, Shui Weiyang, who had been confronting Mo Qingyun, finally spoke. Mo Qingyun, your talent is indeed very strong. Even I am ashamed of my inferiority. Looking at Mo Qingyun, who was in front of her, Shui Weiyang expressed her admiration. Her expression turned cold as she said, with your amazing talent, it would be a pity if you were to die like this. Now, I will give you a chance to live. As long as you are willing to submit to Sacred Sword Mountain, I can save your life. Submit to Sacred Sword Mountain? Hearing Shui Weiyang's words, Mo Qingyun immediately laughed out loud. His expression was filled with intense mockery as he laughed loudly. I can tell you very clearly that I, Mo Qingyun, will destroy Sacred Sword Mountain in my lifetime. Now, you can rest assured and make your move. Hearing Mo Qingyun's words, Shui Weiyang's expression instantly turned gloomy. The killing intent on her body was extremely intense. In her opinion, Mo Qingyun's current behavior was a great insult to Sacred Sword Mountain. Mo Qingyun, since you are courting death, I will fulfill your wish. Seeing that Mo Qingyun was unwilling to submit, Shui Weiyang did not say anything more. She immediately instructed the people behind her. Everyone, attack with all your might. Today, I will let this brat know the price of his arrogance. Yin Yang, 9 Temples Demon Vanquishing Sword Array, Yin Yang Infinite Realm. Under Shui Weiyang and the others' attack, the sky above Sacred Sword Mountain's martial arts arena suddenly changed colors and formed a huge Taiji diagram. Once this Taiji diagram was formed, a shocking aura was emitted from it. Streaks of sharp black and white dual-colored sword lights burst forth. As these black dual-colored sword lights appeared, they rapidly descended from the sky like a storm and bombarded Mo Qingyun with powerful attacks. Devouring Gate. In the face of the storm-like sword rain, Mo Qingyun did not hide his strength anymore. He immediately unleashed his martial soul super skill, Devouring Gate. Immediately after, A terrifying black hole vortex formed above Mo Qingyun at an extremely fast speed. After the black hole whirlpool appeared, a shocking suction force exploded from it and sucked in the sword rain. This was this skill. It actually broke the Yin-Yang Nine Temples demon vanquishing sword arrays Yin-Yang Infinite Realm. Seeing the devouring gate above Mo Qingyun, Shui Weiyang and the others' expressions changed, and they were shocked. Mo Qingyun's current performance had greatly exceeded their expectations. Chapter 968. The Yin-Yang sword chi was absorbed by the devouring gate and was quickly converted into Yin-Yang origin energy, which was transferred into Mo Qingyun's body. Sensing the Yin-Yang origin energy that was transferred into his body, Mo Qingyun did not hesitate and immediately refined it. Seeing Mo Qingyun's action, Shui Weiyang and the others' expressions changed drastically, and their eyes were filled with fear. Shui Weiyang could not imagine that their powerful attack was used by Mo Qingyun to cultivate. You're refining the Yin-Yang origin energy in the Yin-Yang infinite realm? Shui Weiyang's face was filled with shock as he stared at Mo Qingyun with his eyes wide open. He could not believe this scene for a long time. This kind of thing was simply too strange for him. Shui Weiyang and the others did not dare to hesitate and immediately removed the energy transfer to the Yin-Yang infinite realm. It's a pity that I was discovered. Seeing the Taiji diagram disappear in the air, Mo Qingyun shook his head with a faint smile as a trace of pity rose in his heart. Then, Mo Qingyun removed the devouring gate and looked at Shui Weiyang and the others with an indifferent expression. Then, Mo Qingyun and Shui Weiyang and the others confronted each other again. No one took the initiative to attack. Seeing that Mo Qingyun and the two sides confronted each other again, everyone was shocked and could not recover from the previous scene. What technique did Mo Qingyun use just now? He easily resolved the joint attack of Shui Weiyang and the others. Mo Qingyun's technique not only resolved the joint attack of Shui Weiyang and the others, but also used that attack to cultivate. Are you for real? Are you sure? Shui Weiyang and the others' all-out attack just now. Even a half-sovereign expert would have to avoid it. Even a quasi-paragon expert would have to temporarily avoid this attack. Mo Qingyun is actually using it to cultivate. This Mo Qingyun is truly crazy. It seems that we have underestimated Mo Qingyun. His true strength is much stronger than what he has shown. Seeing Mo Qingyun easily neutralize Shui Weiyang's full force attack, everyone's evaluation of Mo Qingyun rose once again. Looks like we've underestimated Mo Qingyun's talent and potential. This kid will definitely be a disaster if we leave him alive. Seeing Mo Qingyun easily neutralize the combined attack of Endless Snow and the others, Gu Fei's expression turned even uglier. The killing intent radiating from him intensified as well. Even if I were to use my full strength, it would still be very difficult for me to resolve their attack just now. Mo Qingyun is only at the 4th level of the divine ability, yet he could do this so easily. This brat is truly too strange. He really can't be left alive. Liang Unju's expression turned solemn when he heard Gu Fei's words, expressing his agreement with Gu Fei's idea. Gu Fei and Liang Unju's expressions turned cold as they stared at Mo Qingyun like two hungry wolves hiding in the bushes. Mo Qingyun, Endless Snow, and the others did not know what the surrounding people were thinking. They were currently in a stalemate, and none of them chose to make the first move. Although this feeling made Endless Snow and the others very unhappy, they did not dare to make a move after seeing Mo Qingyun's strange method. Since you guys don't dare to make a move, I'll just take the initiative. Mo Qingyun's lips curled into a sneer when he saw Endless Snow and the others not making a move for a long time. His figure rapidly approached Endless Snow as he mocked. I didn't expect Sky Sword Sacred Mountain's disciples to be so cowardly. Over a dozen experts with a cultivation of the divine ability realm are actually scared off by a mere 4th level of the divine ability realm. This is truly a tragedy for Sky sword, sacred mountain. Mo Qing Yun, you think too highly of yourself. Mo Qing Yun, you're too arrogant. Be careful not to be struck by lightning. Shui Weiyang and the others were furious when they heard Mo Qingyun's words. They spoke furiously one after another. Mo Qingyun's words were undoubtedly a great humiliation to them. It was something they could not accept. 8 essences in one. As Shui Weiyang and the others were enraged, a dazzling 8-colored sword light with 8 types of complete origin energies attacked them. Under the flight of the 8-colored sword light, the surrounding space trembled as if it was about to be destroyed by the 8-colored sword light. Looking at the 8-colored sword light that caused the space to tremble and continuously attack them, Endless Snow and the others' expressions changed drastically. 8 types of perfect, innate origin force. How? How is this possible? Is Mo Qingyun a human? How'd he do it? No, this must be an illusion. How can anyone do this? At this moment, the disciples of Sky Sword Sacred Mountain were so frightened that they even forgot to defend themselves. Seeing the reactions of the people around him, Endless Snow looked anxious as he hurriedly shouted to everyone, "Everyone, don't just stand there. Immediately defend against Mo Qingyun's sword." Under Endless Snow's shout, the other 17 disciples of Sky Sword Sacred Mountain immediately recovered from the shock and cooperated with Endless Snow to defend against the 8-colored sword light. Yin Yang 9 Temples Demon Slaying Sword Array, Yin Yang Split. Under the activation of Endless Snow and the other 18 disciples, the Yin Yang 9 Temples Demon Slaying Sword Array suddenly shone with light and 2 types of Yin Yang origin force, one black and one white, emerged from it. When the 2 types of Yin Yang origin force burst out, it was mixed with the pure Yin Yang origin force. It perfectly fused with the Yin Yang origin force and turned into a breathtaking sword light. Puchi. When the 8-colored sword light collided with the Yin Yang sword light, it immediately produced a muffled sound as a 10-colored light bloomed. When the 10-colored light bloomed, an aura that was enough to make a quasi-venerable expert's expression change instantly erupted from it. After sensing this aura, the expressions of Mo Qingyun, Endless Snow, and the others changed greatly as they hurriedly retreated to avoid the 10-colored light. Die Brat. At this moment, when Mo Qingyun retreated, Gu Fei and Liang Anju moved and launched a sneak attack on him. Roar! A huge green bull with 7 dragon claws flew out from in front of Gu Fei and tore at Mo Qingyun with its 7 dragon claws. Silver Dragon Sky Destroyer Spear, Silver Dragon Lightning Chain. When Gu Fei summoned the 9-clawed green bull, Liang Anju did not hesitate and thrust the Silver Dragon Spear at Mo Qingyun. Under Liang Anju's wave, the image of a dragon appeared on the Silver Dragon Spear, instantly increasing the Silver Dragon Spear's aura. At the same time, the Silver Dragon Spear glowed brightly as a terrifying lightning bolt appeared and turned into a lightning chain dragon, sealing off Mo Qingyun's escape route. 9-clawed green bull, a top-grade spirit weapon. Seeing Gu Fei and Liang Anju's attack, Mo Qingyun's expression was slightly shocked as a strong killing intent appeared in his eyes. These two actually dared to launch a sneak attack on him while he was fighting with others. They were simply too despicable and shameless. These two must die. At this moment, Mo Qingyun's heart was filled with the desire to kill Gu Fei and Liang Anju. Chapter 969. The disciples of the 2 sacred mountains actually dared to do such a despicable act. How admirable! Mo Qingyun had a disdainful expression on his face as he mocked the 2 of them. Then, he waved the colorless sword in his hand. 9 essences in one. Mo Qingyun was so angry that he did not show any mercy. He directly used 9 types of perfected innate origin force. With a slash, the colorless sword emitted a 9-colored radiance. A 9-colored sword ray slashed toward the 9-clawed green bull and the silver dragon lightning chain. 9 types of perfected innate origin force. Gu Fei and Liang Anju panicked when they saw the power of Mo Qingyun slash. A chill ran down their spines. They really didn't expect that Mo Qingyun actually had a backup plan, and it was such a powerful one at that. After a brief moment of shock, the two did not dare to hesitate and hurriedly blocked Mo Qingyun slash. When Gu Fei and Liang Anju made their moves, the two of them were also retreating at a rapid speed. However, even though Gu Fei and Liang Anju had quickly retreated, the nine-clawed green bull did not manage to evade in time. The nine-colored sword ray flashed past and destroyed the silver dragon lightning chain. It continued to strike the nine-clawed green bull's body with a thunderous momentum. Slash! The nine-clawed green bull's hide was instantly torn apart by the nine-colored sword light. Then, its entire body was split into two by the nine-colored sword light. The nine-clawed green bull was killed instantly. Everyone's expression changed when they saw this scene. They could not believe that this was real. The nine-clawed green bull, whose strength was comparable to a peak divine power expert, was killed by Mo Qingyun slash. Silence. The entire training ground of Heavenly Pool, Sacred Mountain, fell silent. No one dared to make a sound. They were all frightened by Mo Qingyun's peerless and magnificent sword. Even a quasi-exalt realm expert might not be able to resist Mo Qingyun's sword strike from before. A level 4 divine power expert was more terrifying than a half-venerable expert. This kind of thing was really too strange for everyone. Plop! The nine-clawed green ox's corpse fell to the ground, making two consecutive sounds and stirring up a large cloud of dust. When a nine-clawed green ox's corpse fell to the ground, the surrounding people came back to their senses. Their expressions were still filled with shock. 9 types of perfected innate origin powers. How is it possible for someone to achieve this? Monster. He's too much of a monster. This old man has been writing the records of the Tianhan continent for nearly 1,000,000 years. I've seen countless proud deeds of geniuses, but I've never seen someone like him. Venerable Sima, the Tianhan continent has produced countless geniuses in the last 1,000,000 years. How is it possible that there isn't a single person who can match up to Mo Qingyun? I don't know if others have seen him before, but in my many years of experience, I have never seen anyone whose achievements can compare to Mo Qingyun. For a moment, everyone was shocked by Mo Qingyun's performance. While everyone was still in shock, Mo Qingyun's figure moved, and he charged toward Gu Fei and Liang Anju once more. In Mo Qingyun's heart, compared to Shui Weiyang and the others, he wanted to kill Gu Fei and Liang Anju more. 9 origins in 1. Mo Qingyun attacked Gu Fei and Liang Anju once more. He didn't hold back as he once again released 9 types of perfected innate origin powers. In that instant, a 9-colored sword glow burst forth from colorless sword and blasted toward Gu Fei and Gu Fei at lightning speed. 100 Beasts Pilgrimage. Facing Mo Qingyun's powerful attack, Gu Fei didn't dare to hold back and immediately summoned over 100 Yao beasts. Roar! As the 100 Yao beasts appeared, a series of deafening roars came from their mouths. As these Yao beasts roared, waves of terrifying elemental energy burst out from their bodies and condensed into a colorful Qilin shadow. After the elemental energy Qilin shadow was formed, a pure 5 elemental origin powers emanated from its body and turned into a Qilin claw that slammed toward Mo Qingyun. Silver Dragon Sky-Piercing Spear, Silver Dragon Devastation. Liang Anju thrust his spear forward. The spear in his hand suddenly glowed with silver light, and 2 dragon shadows, one silver and one gray, flew out. After the 2 dragon shadows flew out, they intertwined with each other and soared into the sky, circling in the air. As the 2 dragon shadows circled in the sky, the wind and clouds in the sky suddenly changed color, and the sky instantly darkened. Boom! At the same time, streaks of black thunder of devastation, which exuded terrifying power, blasted out from the 2 dragon shadows. These streaks of black thunder of devastation fell, instantly shattering the surrounding space and causing a spiderweb-like crack to appear. Seeing Gu Fei and Liang Anju's full strength attack, The surrounding people's expressions changed and revealed a look of horror. Qilin. Qilin, the sacred beast Qilin. Although it's only the shadow of the sacred beast Qilin, its power is enough to threaten a half-venerable. What a terrifying technique. Is this the power of a top-grade spiritual weapon? With the silver dragon spear in his hand, Liang Unju's current strength is no weaker than a half-venerable expert. In the face of Liang Unju's spear, even with Mo Qingyun's amazing strength, he will probably choose to avoid it for the time being. At this moment, everyone's eyes widened as they focused on the battle in front of them. They were afraid that they would miss the unprecedented battle in front of them in the blink of an eye and regret it in their hearts. Sword momentum condense. In the face of Liang Unju and Gu Fei's full-strength attack, Mo Qingyun's left hand formed a hand seal and pointed at the colorless sword in his right hand. Immediately, the colorless sword emitted a dazzling light as if it had been blessed, exuding a sharp aura. Then, Mo Qingyun waved the colorless sword and slashed out an even more terrifying nine-colored sword light. As the nine-colored sword light slashed out, it charged toward the black lightning of devastation in the Qilin shadow with an unstoppable force. Puff! Puff! Under the bombardment of the nine-colored sword radiance, even with the power of the black thunder of destruction and the Qilin shadow, they were instantly defeated and dissipated. After the nine-colored sword light destroyed the black lightning of devastation and the Qilin shadow, its attack speed did not decrease at all. It continued to blast toward Gu Fei and Liang Unju. Facing the powerful bombardment of the nine-colored sword light, Gu Fei and Liang Unju's expressions changed instantly. They hurriedly blocked the nine-colored sword light. 100 beasts guarding the mountain. Under Gu Fei's command, the more than 100 monsters immediately stood in a row and protected Gu Fei at the back. Silver Dragon Protection. Liang Unju quickly waved the silver dragon spear in his hand. After slashing out a dragon shadow, he placed the silver dragon spear in front of him to protect himself. Then, Liang Unju was protected by a dragon shadow, as if he was enveloped by a golden bell. Bang! Bang! Under the bombardment of a nine-colored sword light, the more than 100 monsters were instantly blasted away. Blood and flesh splattered everywhere. After destroying the monsters formed by more than 100 monsters, the nine-colored sword light did not decrease in speed and continued to sweep toward Gu Fei's waist. Puff! Chapter 970. Gu Fei's eyes widened when he saw that he had been cut in half. He could not believe it. He could not accept that he, the number one genius of the Imperial Beast Sacred Mountain, would die in the hands of an unknown brat. He could not believe that Mo Qingyun would not be afraid of the revenge of the Imperial Beast Sacred Mountain and kill him on the spot. If he had known this would happen, he would rather not provoke Mo Qingyun. Mo Qingyun was a complete madman. Unfortunately, there was no medicine for regret in this world. Once something was done, one had to bear the consequences. Gu Fei is dead. Liang Unju's expression changed when he saw that Gu Fei was still alive after being cut in half. This scene was truly beyond his expectations. He did not expect Mo Qingyun to be so decisive in his actions. However, before Liang Unju could react, the nine-colored sword ray attacked him at an extremely fast speed. Facing the nine-colored sword ray, Liang Unju's expression was extremely nervous. He activated the protective dragon shadow to the extreme. Bang! In the face of the nine-colored sword light, the protective dragon shadow instantly collapsed, emitting the sound of glass shattering. After destroying Liang Unju's protective dragon shadow, the nine-colored sword ray's attack did not decrease at all. Instead, it continued to attack Liang Unju. Clang! Then, the nine-colored sword ray hit the silver dragon spear, producing a crisp sound. Then, a terrifying rebounding force erupted from the silver dragon spear, producing a powerful light wave. After the powerful light wave was formed, Liang Unju's body was sent flying backward. His face became extremely pale. At the same time, the luster on the silver dragon's spear dimmed. It seemed that the weapon spirit of the silver dragon spear was severely injured by the nine-colored sword ray. Seeing the luster on the silver dragon spear dimming, Liang Unju's heart ached. He knew that the weapon spirit of the silver dragon spear was injured. Moreover, if the weapon spirit of the silver dragon spear was severely injured, the grade of the silver dragon spear might drop. This was not an outcome he wanted to see. Before Liang Unju could think any further, another nine-colored sword light swept towards him, radiating with a terrifying and sharp presence. Looking at the rapidly approaching nine-colored sword light, Liang Unju's expression suddenly trembled, and his heart couldn't help but thump. Mo Qingyun wanted to kill him. Seeing Mo Qingyun's decisive action of killing Gu Fei, Liang Unju did not dare to doubt Mo Qingyun's motives, as the stakes were simply too high. If he made the wrong guess, he might very well end up in the same state as Gu Fei. Silver Dragon Sky Destroyer Spear, Silver Dragon Sea Overturning Shield. Liang Unju quickly waved the silver dragon spear in his hand and slashed out 9 silver dragon shadows, forming a huge silver dragon shield in front of him. After the silver dragon shield was formed, an astonishing wave of origin power burst out from it, slamming towards the nine-colored sword light like a stormy sea. The nine-colored sword gleam slammed into the waves of elemental energy, causing them to explode and crash into the silver dragon shield. Bang! The nine-colored sword light collided with the dragon shield and immediately shattered the silver dragon shield with a loud bang. Seeing this, Liang Unju did not dare to hesitate at all and hurriedly slammed the silver dragon spear in front of him. When Liang Unju placed the silver dragon spear in front of him to block the nine-colored sword gleam, the nine-colored sword gleam hit the silver dragon spear. Clang! With a crisp sound, the light on the silver dragon spear dimmed again, and its aura weakened a lot. It seemed that the grade of the silver dragon spear had dropped after being continuously injured. However, Mo Qingyun did not care about this and continued to slash at Liang Unju with the colorless sword. Under Mo Qingyun's powerful attacks, Liang Unju quickly became surrounded by danger. If he was not careful, he would be killed by Mo Qingyun's sword. However, anyone with a discerning eye could see that if no one helped Liang Unju, it was only a matter of time before Liang Unju was killed by Mo Qingyun. Seeing that Liang Unju was in danger under Mo Qingyun's attacks, the people of Sky Spear Mystic Mountain could no longer sit still. Oh no, young Lord Unju is in danger. We have to protect young Lord immediately. An elder of Sky Spear Mystic Mountain, who was at the pinnacle of divine power, said nervously. He moved quickly and went to help Liang Unju. Seeing this elder's action, the others of Sky Spear Mystic Mountain did not hesitate and attacked Mo Qingyun one after another. Seeing the actions of the people of Sky Spear Mystic Mountain, the people of Imperial Beast Mystic Mountain no longer hesitated. One of them said with a gloomy expression, Mo Qingyun killed Gu Fei, young Lord Gu Fei. Let's attack together and tear him to pieces to avenge young Lord Gu Fei. Kill Mo Qingyun and avenge young Lord Gu Fei. The people of Imperial Beast Mystic Mountain shouted angrily and summoned their own monsters to attack Mo Qingyun. Soon, numerous ferocious demonic beasts appeared in front of the people from the Imperial Beast Sacred Mountain and pounced on Mo Qingyun. Upon seeing this, Shui Weiyang revealed a cold smile. She said to the group from Sky Sword Mountain behind her, "Now that 2 great divine mountains are dealing with Mo Qingyun together, there's no need for us to hesitate. Let's take advantage of this opportunity to kill him in one go. Junior brothers, get into formation." Shui Weiyang said coldly and instructed everyone to form the Yin-Yang 9 Temples Demon Slaying Sword formation once more. When Shui Weiyang and the others attacked Mo Qingyun, the others of Sky Sword Mystic Mountain did not hesitate and joined the battle against Mo Qingyun. In an instant, nearly 100 divine tier experts from the 3 Mystic Mountains attacked Mo Qingyun at the same time. The people of the various major forces felt their scalps go numb when they saw this scene. In their opinion, Even a force with a half-step Venerable Realm expert would be annihilated by the combined forces of the three mystic mountains. Right now, Mo Qingyun was only at level 4 of the divine tier. Could he withstand the combined attacks of the three mystic mountains? The three mystic mountains are really shameless. So many of them are attacking Martial Granduncle alone. Grand Elder, let's help Martial Granduncle. We'll help Martial Granduncle shoulder some of the attacks. Don't be rash. We'll only be a burden to master if we participate in a battle of this scale. Song Luo and the others were tense when they saw this scene. They were worried for Mo Qingyun. Compared to the others who were worried and nervous, Mo Qingyun was very calm. He was not affected by this at all. You want to bully me with numbers? A wisp of a cold smile appeared on the corners of Mo Qingyun's mouth as he gazed at the almost 100 people that attacked him, and he said in a cold and indifferent tone, "Since all of you are courting death, then I'll annihilate all of you today." Demonic shadow, traceless, following like a shadow. As soon as Mo Qingyun finished speaking, 8 afterimages appeared around him. He instantly disappeared from where he was, avoiding the combined attacks of the three mystic mountains. Die. Chapter 971. With a slash, a crescent-shaped sword ray was instantly released from the colorless sword. Following that, the crescent-shaped sword ray was like a lawnmower as it swept towards the Sky Spear Sacred Mountains group. Puff, puff, puff. As the sword ray swept past, streaks of blood mist spurted out from the bodies of the Sky Spear Sacred Mountains group. Very quickly, the place where the Sky Spear Sacred Mountains group was formed into a bloody cloud. With one slash, more than 20 experts with intermediate transcendent power and above were killed by Mo Qingyun on the spot. Looking at the scene before them, everyone's expression changed as they were shocked by Mo Qingyun's strength. However, Mo Qingyun's following performance completely stunned them. Mo Qingyun had disappeared. Mo Qingyun had disappeared from their sight. How? How is this possible? Mo Qingyun has actually disappeared. I can't even sense his aura. Could it be that Mo Qingyun has left? Could it be that he used some kind of escape technique? That's possible. After all, from the start of the battle until now, for someone with level 4 transcendent power, the amount of yuan energy depleted is too great. It's normal for Mo Qingyun's yuan energy to be depleted. This time, the three sacred mountains couldn't keep Mo Qingyun here. With the talent that Mo Qingyun has displayed today, it will be an endless nightmare for them. They won't be able to eat or sleep in peace in the future. Seeing Mo Qingyun's figure disappear, everyone's expression changed as they thought that Mo Qingyun had escaped. In their opinion, even if Mo Qingyun's performance was extremely shocking, he was still only at level 4 transcendent power. With Mo Qingyun's level 4 transcendent power cultivation, the amount of yuan energy he had used to continuously unleash terrifying attacks must be terrifying. Now that he had run out of yuan energy, it was within reason. Bang! Just as everyone thought so, a dazzling light suddenly bloomed and turned into a crescent-shaped, 9-colored sword ray that slashed towards the Imperial Beast Sacred Mountains group. After seeing this sword light appear, the expressions of the surrounding people changed greatly, revealing a look of shock. Mo Qingyun hadn't left yet. From the looks of it, not only had Mo Qingyun not left, but he was also hiding in the surroundings, waiting for an opportunity to kill the people from the three divine mountains. The fighting power of the Beast God Mountain's disciples mainly came from their demonic beasts. Their own fighting power was not very strong. At this moment, Mo Qingyun's sudden sword strike was undoubtedly a calamity to them. Chi, chi, chi. Blood splattered everywhere the sword radiance passed. One by one, the disciples of the divine Beast Mountain were sliced apart by the 9-colored sword radiance. As their torsos were severed, the people of the Imperial Beast Divine Mountain let out a series of blood-curdling screams. However, before the people of the Imperial Beast Divine Mountain could react, another 9-colored sword light swept toward them from another angle. The two 9-colored sword lights were like a giant pair of scissors, cutting towards the people of the imperial beast divine mountain. Crack, crack, crack. Soon, the crisp sound of bones cracking could be heard. One by one, the disciples of the imperial beast divine mountain were killed by the sword radiance. After a while, the sword radiance disappeared, and the bloody mist dissipated. In the air, there were less than 10 disciples of the imperial beast divine mountain who were still alive. Under Mo Qingyun's continuous attacks, more than 20 disciples of the imperial beast divine mountain were killed on the spot. In just a short while, nearly 100 disciples of the three divine mountains had been killed by Mo Qingyun. What kind of terrifying battle record was this? However, this was not the most frightening thing. The most frightening thing was that Mo Qingyun was still hiding in the dark. What was the most frightening thing in a fight? It was not how high the opponent's cultivation was, or how many trump cards he had, or how powerful his background was. It was that you didn't even know where your opponent was and could be ambushed or assassinated at any time. This Mo Qingyun is too monstrous. With such a terrifying technique, he's already in an invincible position. It seems like the three divine mountains are in trouble this time. They provoked someone they shouldn't have. Unless a supreme being expert appears, there's no one who can threaten Mo Qingyun. At this moment, the crowd couldn't help but sigh. They were completely convinced by Mo Qingyun's strength. For someone at the fourth level of the transcendent realm to be able to reach such a terrifying level, it could be considered unprecedented. At this moment, while the crowd was still in shock over Mo Qingyun's strength, a dim light suddenly appeared behind Liang Anju. It was the reflection of the colorless sword's blade. Anju, watch out. Senior brother Anju, watch out for a sneak attack. Mo Qingyun, don't you dare. Seeing the reflection of the colorless sword's blade, the Sky Spear Sacred Mountain's disciples' expressions changed drastically. They quickly warned Liang Anju. Hearing the crowd's warning, Liang Anju quickly turned around. When he saw the colorless sword's blade, his expression changed drastically. Looking at the colorless sword that was rapidly approaching him, Liang Anju's face turned pale. He quickly retreated. However, the colorless sword's attack speed was too fast. In addition to the unexpected sneak attack, it wasn't something Liang Anju could dodge. Pucci, the colorless sword's speed suddenly increased. In an instant, it pierced through Liang Anju's chest and pierced through his body. At the same time, 9 types of perfected innate origin energy poured into Liang Anju's body from the colorless sword, destroying his meridians and dantian. Puff! Under the bombardment of the 9 types of perfected innate origin energy, Liang Anju immediately spat out a mouthful of blood. His meridians and dantian were instantly destroyed. In the blink of an eye, Liang Anju was covered in blood. He looked extremely miserable. As his meridians and dantian were destroyed, Liang Anju's aura rapidly weakened. In the blink of an eye, he was no different from an ordinary person. Anju, how are you? Senior brother Anju, are you okay? Junior brother Anju, are you okay? Seeing Liang Anju's miserable state, the people of Sky Spear Mystic Mountain immediately supported him and asked with concern. My meridians and dantian were all destroyed by Mo Qingyun. Hearing the people's questions, Liang Anju smiled sadly and replied with an unwilling expression. He couldn't accept that as the number 1 genius of Sky Spear Mystic Mountain, he would become a cripple with no cultivation from now on. This kind of thing was even crueler than killing him. Mo Qingyun, get out here. Hearing Liang Anju's words, the people of Sky Spear Mystic Mountain were instantly enraged and shouted angrily. While the people of Sky Spear Mystic Mountain were shouting, Mo Qingyun's figure gradually appeared. He looked at Liang Anju with a cold expression and said, when you sneak attack others, you should think twice. You will also be sneak attacked by others. As Mo Qingyun's words fell, his body faded again and slowly disappeared from everyone's sight. Seeing Mo Qingyun's figure disappear and disappear from their senses, the people of the 3 sacred mountains' expressions changed drastically. They were filled with intense fear. Chapter 972. Run. Mo Qin Yun is coming for us. Someone from the three sacred mountains could no longer suppress the fear in his heart when he thought of what would happen to him. As this panicked voice was heard, the fear in the hearts of the others was immediately aroused. Everyone from the three sacred mountains began to think of retreating. They no longer had the heart to continue fighting and wanted to leave this place as soon as possible. They did not want to be killed by Mo Qin Yun. They were afraid that they would follow in the footsteps of Gu Fei and the others if they were even a step too late. Soon, a scene that made everyone not know whether to laugh or cry appeared before everyone's eyes. Under Mo Qin Yun's attack, the people from the three sacred mountains, who had the absolute advantage in numbers, began to flee for their lives in fear. Such a scene was simply too out of everyone's expectations, causing everyone to feel that it was completely out of their expectations. Were these really the three sacred mountains they knew? Since when had the three sacred mountains become so cowardly? The expressions of the three quasi-exalts who were fighting with Qi Lian instantly turned gloomy when they saw the disciples of their respective divine mountains fleeing for their lives. The three sacred mountains were the peak powers of the Tianhan continent. How could they be forced to flee like this? This was a great humiliation for the three sacred mountains. This was something they could not tolerate. Demigod Domineering Spear, Demigod Tiger. That brat Mo Qin Yun is a little strange. We need to take care of him immediately. Demigod Fu Chong coldly said when he saw the disciples from the three sacred mountains being slaughtered by Mo Qin Yun. The two of you, hold off the Demon King for now. This old man will deal with that brat, Mo Qin Yun, first. The three of us can then slowly deal with the Demon King. All right. Demigod Domineering Spear and Demigod Tiger had no objections to Demigod Fu Chang's suggestion. Among the three of them, Fu Chang's quasi-venerable attack was the strongest. If he were to attack, he would be able to kill Mo Qin Yun in the shortest time possible. Seeing that Demigod Domineering Spear and Demigod Tiger had agreed, Demigod Fu Chong no longer hesitated and charged toward Mo Qin Yun. Brat, you're too arrogant. With a few flickers, Fu Chong arrived near the disciples of the three sacred mountains and released his divine ability treasure elephant. Fu Chang's half-martial treasure elephant was a fiery eyes golden hoe that possessed the bloodline of an ancient divine beast. Its eyes could see through all illusions. Following Fu Chang's summoning of the magical treasure elephant, a dazzling light blossomed from the golden light hoe's eyes. Under the sweeping of this dazzling light, all illusory objects appeared one by one. At the same time, a terrifying aura flew out from Fu Chang's body and instantly enveloped an area of 10 miles around him. This power was Fu Chang's half-venerable will. With Fu Chang searching with all his might, he soon sensed Mo Qin Yun, who was hiding in the dark. Brat, this old man wants to see where you're going to hide next. After discovering Mo Qin Yun's hiding place, Fu Chang smiled coldly and slashed at Mo Qin Yun with his long sword. As Fu Chang slashed out with his sword, a terrifying flaming sword ray shot toward Mo Qin Yun like a dragon coming out of its cave. Wherever the flaming sword ray passed, Fu Chang's half-venerable will instantly froze the surrounding space to prevent Mo Qin Yun from escaping. In other words, Mo Qin Yun did not even have a chance to escape from Fu Chang's sword. Fu Chang did not stop after slashing out with his sword. Instead, he instructed the disciples of the three sacred mountains behind him. All of you, summon your magical treasure elephants and use your strongest techniques to attack where my sword ray is pointing. Yes. Upon hearing Fu Chang's words, the disciples did not dare hesitate. They all summoned their magical treasure elephants and used their strongest techniques in the direction of the flaming sword ray. Suddenly, a series of attacks that emitted terrifying auras bombarded Mo Qin Yun from all directions. Under the pressure of these terrifying attacks, the entire sky changed color. It was as if the end of the world had arrived. After seeing this scene, everyone's expression changed drastically. They were worried for Mo Qin Yun. In their opinion, The combined attack of a half-venerable and 10 high-level magical treasure masters was enough to kill a half-venerable on the spot. Those below the high-level magical treasure stage immediately retreat 100 miles away from the martial arts field to avoid being injured by the aftershocks of the battle. Elders immediately activate the Heavenly Pool Sacred Mountains protective array to prevent the aftershocks of the battle from spreading to other parts of the sect. Seeing that terrifying attack, the people from the various major forces all made their moves to deal with it. After a while, the disciples of the various major forces retreated 100 miles away from the martial arts field. They all looked forward nervously. At this moment, a continent-shaped object suddenly appeared in front of them. After this continent-shaped object appeared, it rushed toward Fu Chong and the others with a thunderous force. Asterisk bang bang bang. Asterisk after a while, the joint attack of Fu Chong and the others bombarded the continent, creating a series of earth-shattering sounds. At the same time, a terrifying Yuan Qi storm formed at the edge of the continent. Asterisk bang bang bang. Asterisk after the Yuan Qi storm formed, it turned around and attacked Fu Chong and the others. In an instant, it engulfed everyone from the 3 sacred mountains. What is this thing? Could it be Mo Qingyun's magical treasure elephant? Looking at the rapidly approaching continent, Fu Chang's face twitched. A chill rose in his heart. With his thousands of years of experience, he had never seen such a strange thing. This unknown danger terrified him. At this moment, he clearly felt that the sense of danger from this continent was even stronger than what sword venerable he gave him. It was hard to imagine that a 4th-level magical treasure stage cultivator could create such a terrifying attack. Asterisk bang. Asterisk at this moment, while Fu Chong was panicking, his magical treasure elephant fire-eye golden light Ho was smashed into pieces by the continent. Asterisk poo. Asterisk after the magical treasure elephant fire-eye golden light Ho was destroyed, Fu Chong, who was connected to it, immediately spat out a mouthful of blood. His aura weakened. Run. Then, Fu Chong no longer hesitated. He immediately turned around and prepared to escape. Asterisk bang. Asterisk, however, before Fu Chong could turn around, he was hit by the continent. In an instant, his bones and flesh were separated from his body. He turned into a bloody mist. Fu Chong dead. After Fu Chong was killed, the rest of the people from the 3 sacred mountains were also smashed into bloody mist by the continent. In just a short moment, dozens of people from the 3 sacred mountains died in midair. Seeing this scene, everyone was stunned. They all looked at Mo Qingyun in shock. They could not believe that this was done by Mo Qingyun. Could a person at the 4th level of the divine ability realm have such terrifying strength? Chapter 973. While everyone was still in a daze, the Yuan force windstorm in the sky gradually dissipated and the blood mist slowly receded. Not long after, although the sky returned to its usual calm, the shock in everyone's hearts could not be calmed. At that moment, the shocking scene from earlier was still replaying in their minds. A half-step powerhouse and dozens of high-level god art powerhouses were actually killed by a level 4 god art powerhouse in the blink of an eye. This kind of thing was simply too shocking. It was simply too hard for them to believe. Everyone's eyes were filled with shock as they turned to look at Mo Qingyun. Their eyes were filled with shock and awe. Sect leader Ma, did I see wrongly? Did Mo Qingyun really kill half-venerable Fu Chong and the others? I'm not sure, but Mo Qingyun must have killed them. Or could it be an expert from Mo Qingyun's sect? No matter what, we can't afford to offend Mo Qingyun. Otherwise, the consequences will be worse than offending a sovereign. At this moment, the same thought appeared in everyone's mind. No matter what, they couldn't afford to offend Mo Qingyun. Mo Qingyun was simply too terrifying. Under everyone's gaze, Mo Qingyun turned to look at half-venerable tiger and half-venerable spear with a cold expression. When they felt Mo Qingyun's cold gaze, half-venerable tiger and half-venerable spear trembled and felt a chill run down their spines. Although they had been fighting with Qi Lian, The scene of Mo Qingyun killing half-venerable Fu Chong did not escape their eyes. Half-venerable Fu Chong, who was stronger than them, had been killed by Mo Qingyun. If the two of them were to face Mo Qingyun, they would die even faster and more miserably. No, I don't want to die. When they thought of half-venerable Fu Chang's fate, half-venerable Tiger and half-venerable Domineering Spear's expression changed and fear rose in their hearts. Run! Half-venerable Tiger and half-venerable Domineering Spear looked at each other. Without hesitation, they ran in different directions. They were scared. From their point of view, if they didn't escape now, once Mo Qingyun attacked them, they wouldn't have the chance to escape. Qilian, you go kill Domineering Spear Demigod. Leave Tiger Subdue to me. Seeing the actions of Domineering Spear Demigod and Tiger Subdue, Mo Qingyun had a cold expression as he instructed Qilian. After saying that, Mo Qingyun no longer hesitated and directly opened the teleportation gate. Yes, young lord. Having received Mo Qingyun's instructions, Qilian naturally did not hesitate at all. He revealed a sinister smile as he responded. From the beginning until now, he had been suppressed by half-venerable Tiger and the other two. Now, he finally had a chance to get back at them. Of course, Qilian's true intention was to kill Domineering Spear Demi-Venerate and refine the blood in his body. Then his cultivation base would improve greatly. Seeing the teleportation gate forming in front of him, Mo Qingyun walked in without hesitation and disappeared from where he stood. Whoosh! When Mo Qingyun reappeared, he was already in front of Tiger Subdue, blocking his path. Teleportation. Seeing Mo Qingyun's performance, the expressions of the surrounding people suddenly changed. An intense shock rose in their hearts. Teleportation was a technique that not even half-venerables could master. However, Mo Qingyun had executed it so easily. Was there anything Mo Qingyun could do? At that moment, everyone was wailing in their hearts. They didn't know how to express their feelings. Now, Mo Qingyun had become an omnipotent existence. Demon. He's really a demon. With such talent and such means, if a sovereign doesn't appear, no one will be able to compete with him. Seeing Mo Qingyun's move, a sect leader of a sect sighed emotionally. If a sovereign doesn't appear, no one will be able to compete with him. Hearing the sect leader's words, the people of the various superpowers fell silent. They all agreed with his words. If he could even kill a half-venerate expert, who else would be able to suppress Mo Qingyun, other than a sovereign? Luckily, we didn't deal with Mo Qingyun previously. Seeing Mo Qingyun's terrifying means, an elder of the heavenly pool, Sacred Mountain, couldn't help but sigh with lingering fear. Hearing the elder's words, the other elders of the heavenly pool, Sacred Mountain, nodded their heads. They also felt a lingering fear in their hearts. They knew clearly that if they had dealt with Mo Qingyun, the consequences would have been dire. Given the strength and means that Mo Qingyun had displayed, even Transcendental Supreme Su might not have been able to kill Mo Qingyun. More importantly, if Mo Qingyun had been killed on the spot, given his shocking talent, he would have been a nightmare once he grew stronger. Brother, Mo actually killed a half-venerate. Wang Quan and the others widened their eyes when they saw Mo Qingyun kill Fu Chong. They couldn't believe that this was real. They had seen Mo Qingyun's terrifying strength in the Fog Pond sect of the Mingfeng mountain range. They knew that Mo Qingyun would become even stronger after breaking through to the transcendent realm. But they never would have thought that Mo Qingyun would become so strong after breaking through to the transcendent realm. Martial Granduncle is so strong. Seeing Mo Qingyun's display of strength, Song Luo couldn't calm himself down for a long time. He was so excited that he muttered to himself, with Martial Granduncle's talent, he will definitely become a sovereign in the future. He might even become the strongest person on the Tianhan continent. Song Luo, actually managed to curry favor with someone like him. This is really... At this moment, Song Luo couldn't find any words to describe the excitement and joy in his heart. To Song Luo, being able to curry favor with Mo Qingyun was more fortunate than being able to curry favor with the heavenly pool mountain. Compared to the others, Half-Venerable Tiger's mood was undoubtedly the worst. In terms of speed, he couldn't compare to Mo Qingyun. In terms of strength, he wasn't even close to being a match for Mo Qingyun. Now, he could only wait for death. Brat, what do you want? Looking at Mo Qingyun, who was blocking his way, Half-Venerable Tiger asked Mo Qingyun in a panicked tone, his face filled with fear. Tiger Subdue's heart was filled with anticipation when he said this. He hoped that Mo Qingyun would give him something in exchange for his life. But reality was always cruel. Mo Qingyun's expression turned even colder when he heard Tiger Subdue's words. Those who kill will be killed by others. I want you dead. Mo Qingyun wouldn't go easy on those from the Beastmaster's Sacred Mountain, Sky Spear's Sacred Mountain, and Sky Sword Sacred Mountain. He would make them pay for what they did to him in the Heaven's Spirit Tomb. Chapter 974. 9 Essences as One. A 9-colored sword radiance shot out from the colorless sword. Like a horse that had escaped its reins, it charged towards Half-Venerable Tiger. Tyrannical Snow Lion, stop this brat for me. Seeing Mo Qingyun attacking him, Half-Venerable Tiger's face twitched and he panicked. At the same time, Half-Venerable Tiger quickly formed a hand seal and summoned a demonic beast that looked like a white tiger. Seeing the demonic beast summoned by Half-Venerable Tiger, Mo Qingyun immediately recognized its origin. It was the descendant of the ancient divine beast, Swanee. Roar. After the tyrannical snow lion was summoned, it roared towards the sky and raised its paw to slap the 9-colored sword radiance. As the tyrannical snow lion slapped the sword radiance, a pure ice origin energy was emitted from its paw. Immediately, a layer of ice armor formed around its paw, and it emitted a terrifying aura. Bang! The 9-colored sword radiance hit the tyrannical snow lion's paw, and a loud sound was heard. The 9-colored sword radiance had been blocked. However, when the tyrannical snow lion blocked the 9-colored sword light, the ice armor condensed on its huge palm cracked at an extremely fast speed. As the ice armor cracked, its paw was hit by the 9-colored sword radiance. In an instant, a shocking wound appeared on its paw and fresh blood flowed out. Seeing Mo Qingyun's casual sword strike easily break through his protective ice armor, Tyrannical Snow's eyes immediately revealed a strong sense of awe as he looked at Mo Qingyun, a demonic beast with the bloodline of the Swanee. Mo Qingyun frowned slightly as he gazed at the tyrannical snow lion before him. A faint smile appeared on the corners of his mouth as he said, "A tyrannical snow lion with a cultivation at the quasi-exalt realm is a pretty good mount. It would be a pity to kill it." After thinking about it, Mo Qingyun no longer hesitated. He looked at the tyrannical snow lion in front of him and said, "Since you have the bloodline of the ancient divine beast Swanee, if you submit to me now, I can spare your life. I think you can see that it is easy for me to kill you. Brat, with your level 4 transcendent power, you're not qualified to make me submit. If you want to kill me, then kill me." After hearing Mo Qingyun's words, the tyrannical snow lion unhappily raised his head and said a few words of displeasure. Obviously, it would be difficult to make this tyrannical snow lion submit to him just based on Qingyun's words. As a descendant of an ancient mythological beast, the tyrannical snow Swanee had the arrogance of a mythological beast and would not easily yield to others. Mo Qingyun did not care too much about the tyrannical snow lion's performance. If the tyrannical snow lion surrendered so easily, it would not be worth it for him to subdue it. Looks like I'll have to teach you a lesson. Mo Qingyun faintly smiled and continued to slash at tyrannical snow lion with his sword. This sword strike was even more powerful and faster than the previous one. Facing Mo Qingyun's sword, the lion tyrant Snow didn't dare to be the slightest bit careless. It immediately waved its beast paw to resist. Mo Qingyun actually wants to subdue the tyrannical snow lion. What a fool's dream. Seeing Mo Qingyun's actions, Half-Venerable Tiger, who was at the side, was elated. A mocking smile appeared on his face as he said, "When I subdued the tyrannical snow lion, with the help of Sovereign Yunfan, it took me a whole month to subdue it. Now, I have to leave this place immediately while Mo Qingyun is subduing the tyrannical snow lion." Seeing Mo Qingyun's actions, Half-Venerable Tiger didn't dare to stay any longer and immediately turned to leave. Following which, Half-Venerable Tiger's body flashed, and he was 1,000 meters away. Trying to leave? Seeing Half-Venerable Tiger's actions, Mo Qingyun's expression turned cold. He raised his hand to grab Half-Venerable Tiger and shouted, "Get back here!" As Mo Qingyun made a grabbing motion, a terrifying wave of origin energy gathered behind Half-Venerate Tiger Subdue and turned into a huge blue palm. Once the blue palm was formed, it quickly grabbed at Half-Venerable Tiger and tried to subdue him. Tiger subduing Arhut Fist, Yama's mystical fist. Faced with the huge blue palm, Half-Venerable Tiger didn't hesitate and threw a punch at the huge blue palm. A terrifying wave of origin energy gathered on Half-Venerable Tiger's fist and turned into a dark golden shadow of a fist. Bang! Once the shadow of the fist was thrown, it attacked the huge blue palm. In an instant, the huge blue palm exploded and turned into blue water droplets. Seeing that it destroyed the blue palm with one punch, Half-Venerable Tiger sneered proudly and said, "That's all there is to it. Mo Qingyun, you're too full of yourself if you think you can capture me with such a trick. Is that so?" Hearing Half-Venerable Tiger's words, Mo Qingyun smiled playfully. His expression turned cold as he said, "Then watch how I'm going to subdue you." 99 Azure Sea Black Ice Dragon capturing hands form. As Mo Qingyun finished speaking, his right hand grabbed a Half-Venerable Tiger again. Following which, the huge blue palm that had been destroyed by Half-Venerable Tiger slowly reformed. Once the blue hand was formed again, it grabbed Half-Venerable Tiger Subdue in its hand before he could react. Seeing that he was being held by the huge blue palm, Half-Venerable Tiger snorted coldly and said, "Oomph. Mo Qingyun, don't waste your energy. This level of skill can't subdue me." As Half-Venerable Tiger finished speaking, he activated the origin energy in his body and tried to break free from the 99 Azure Sea Black Ice Dragon capturing hands. Ice form. Just as Half-Venerable Tiger was about to break free from the 99 Azure Sea Black Ice Dragon capturing hands, Mo Qingyun released a wave of ice origin energy and changed the 99 Azure Sea Black Ice Dragon capturing hands into an ice form. Following which, the huge blue palm turned into a huge black ice palm and emitted a terrifying chill that surged into Half-Venerable Tiger's body. As soon as the chill entered Half-Venerable Tiger's body, he felt as though his origin energy had been frozen by the chill. Realizing this, Half-Venerable Tiger's expression changed drastically. His face turned pale. He had not expected this to happen. "Get over here." Before Half-Venerable Tiger could react, he realized that his body had been captured by the huge black ice palm and brought to Mo Qingyun. Looking at this scene, the surrounding people were instantly horrified, and they were all stunned on the spot. Even someone as powerful as Half-Venerable Tiger could not resist Mo Qingyun at all. This fellow is so powerful. Seeing that Half-Venerable Tiger had been captured by Mo Qingyun, Tyrannical Snow, who was standing at the side, was terrified. Immediately after, Tyrannical Snow did not hesitate and immediately prepared to escape. He did not care about Half-Venerable Tiger's life or death. What a cunning fellow! Seeing Tyrannical Snow's actions, Mo Qingyun's lips curled up. He raised his hand and grabbed in Tyrannical Snow's direction and said, "Get over here." Following which, a huge blue palm condensed behind the Tyrannical Snow lion and directly captured him. After the huge blue palm captured Tyrannical Snow, it turned into ice and brought him to Mo Qingyun. Chapter 975. I'll submit to you. Hearing Mo Qingyun's words, The tyrannical snow wolf no longer hesitated and hurriedly made his decision. He could tell that if he did not agree, Mo Qingyun would definitely kill him. In order to protect his life, the tyrannical snow wolf had no choice but to submit to Mo Qingyun. After all, it was not easy for him to reach the half-supremacy realm. Of course, the tyrannical snow wolf was willing to submit to Mo Qingyun because he wanted to protect his life. Furthermore, the strength that Mo Qingyun had displayed had completely conquered him. He felt that Mo Qingyun was qualified to be his master. In the tyrannical snow wolf's opinion, Mo Qingyun, who was only at the 4th level of the transcendent power realm, could easily defeat half-supremacy tiger. Following Mo Qingyun seemed to have a better future than following half-supremacy tiger. What a crafty fellow! Hearing the tyrannical snow wolf's reply, Mo Qingyun smiled faintly. He seemed to have expected the tyrannical snow wolf to make such a decision. From the way the tyrannical snow wolf had abandoned half-supremacy tiger, it could be seen that this fellow had no loyalty to half-supremacy tiger. Bastard, you're courting death. Seeing that the tyrannical snow wolf was about to betray him and recognize Mo Qingyun as his master, half-supremacy tiger's face darkened. His eyes were filled with intense, killing intent, following which a shocking wave of soul energy was emitted from half-supremacy tiger's body. Seeing half-supremacy tiger's actions, Mo Qingyun immediately understood his plan. Half-supremacy tiger intended to use the soul connection between him and the tyrannical snow wolf to detonate the soul imprint in the tyrannical snow wolf soul to kill him. After knowing half-supremacy tiger's plan, Mo Qingyun naturally would not let him have his way. He sneered and said coldly, "Now that the tyrannical snow wolf is my mount, I won't let you hurt him easily." After Mo Qingyun finished speaking, he controlled the 9-9 Azure Sea Dark Ice Dragon, capturing hands, and increased the strength of the Dark Ice Giant Palm. Crack, crack, crack. Due to the force exerted by the Dark Ice Palm, the crisp sound of bones cracking could be heard from half-venerate tiger's body. Puff! The bones in his body were crushed by the mystic ice giant palm. Immediately, half-venerable tiger spat out a mouthful of blood. His face turned extremely pale. At the same time, half-venerable tiger's attempt to capture the tyrannical snow lion was interrupted by the intense pain in his body. Mo Qingyun didn't stop after interrupting half-venerable tiger's attack. He continued to control the dark ice giant palm to crush half-venerable tiger's body. Soon, the bones in half-venerable tiger's body were crushed by the dark ice palm. His body became like a puddle of mud. Seeing that his physical body had been destroyed, half-venerable tiger subduing did not hesitate any longer. He immediately ejected his soul out of his body. Mo Qingyun, this old man will remember what happened today. In the future, this old man will definitely make you pay back tenfold. As half-venerate tiger's subdued soul left his body, Mo Qingyun saw a ray of gray light fly out his head and fly off into the distance at an extremely fast speed. This was half-venerable tiger's soul. He had abandoned his physical body to escape. Half-venerable tiger subduing, you won't have a chance to do so. Just stay here obediently. In response to half-venerable tiger's harsh words, Mo Qingyun's expression was cold. His left eye flashed with a thick purple light. As the purple light flashed in Mo Qingyun's left eye, a terrifying bloodline aura was emitted from his body. This is the bloodline power of the heavenly soul demon tribe. When Mo Qingyun's bloodline power of the heavenly soul demon tribe was released, the tyrannical snow lion's face twitched. He was extremely shocked. Although he had never seen the heavenly soul demon tribe before, he had records of the heavenly soul demon tribe in his inherited memories. This was why divine beasts were more powerful than other demonic beasts. They could pass down their memories to their descendants through the power of their bloodline. The tyrannical snow lion was the descendant of the dragon tribe. As such, he naturally received some of the inherited memories of the dragon tribe. Of course, as the bloodline of the dragon tribe in his body was thin, he received very little of the inherited memories of the dragon tribe. Even so, the tyrannical snow lion's knowledge and experience far exceeded that of other demonic beasts and humans of the same cultivation level. Master actually has the bloodline of the heavenly soul demon tribe. If that's the case, it's a blessing for me to be able to become his mount. At this moment, the tyrannical snow lion was no longer unwilling to submit to Emo Qingyun. In his opinion, even if he was the descendant of the ancestral dragon, there was nothing shameful about submitting to someone from the heavenly soul demon tribe. According to his memories, the heavenly soul demon tribe was even more powerful than the dragon tribe in the wasteland continent. Just as the tyrannical snow lion was shocked, a purple soul light shot out from Emo Qingyun's left eye. Pucci. The soul light attack was extremely fast. In the blink of an eye, it hit the soul of half-venerable tiger. Ah, damn brat, the divine beast mountain will not let you off. After being hit by the soul light, half-venerable tiger screamed in pain. His soul slowly dissipated in midair. Seeing this, the expressions of the surrounding people changed. They looked at Emo Qingyun in a different light. Demi-venerable tiger, who had extremely high attainments in soul cultivation, was actually annihilated by Emo Qingyun. This scene was simply too out of everyone's expectations. What was that soul light attack? It could easily destroy half-venerable tiger's soul. It could be Emo Qingyun's gifted superpower. I didn't expect Emo Qingyun to be so skilled in soul cultivation. Do you think Emo Qingyun is the reincarnation of an ancient almighty? Otherwise, how could he know so many terrifying techniques? It doesn't matter if Emo Qingyun is the reincarnation of an ancient almighty. One thing is for sure, Emo Qingyun is not someone we can offend. That's right. When I return to the sect, I must warn the disciples not to provoke Emo Qingyun. Seeing Emo Qingyun use the soul light, the surrounding people's respect for him increased by several times. After destroying half-venerable tiger's soul, Emo Qingyun put away his corpse and turned to look at Qilian. Although half-venerable tiger's skeleton had been crushed, the power of his flesh and blood was still there. Qilian could refine it to increase his cultivation. Seeing Emo Qingyun looking at Qilian, the tyrannical snow lion's expression changed. He looked at Emo Qingyun and asked, "Master, Mr. Qi is fighting with half-venerable tyrannical spear. Should we go and help him?" Given Qilian's current cultivation, killing half-venerable tyrannical spear is more than enough. Emo Qingyun shook his head and rejected the tyrannical snow lion's suggestion. He then said, "The reason Qilian didn't kill half-venerable tyrannical spear is probably because he wants to use him to train himself and get used to the power of a half-venerable faster." Hearing Emo Qingyun's words, the tyrannical snow lion didn't say anything else. He quietly squatted beside Emo Qingyun. Chapter 976. Young Lord, it has been settled. After killing demigod tyrannical spear, Qilian revealed a respectful expression and walked in front of Emo Qingyun. Emo Qingyun nodded and took out a Chinquan bag. He handed it to Qilian and said, "This is demigod tiger's body. Take it." "Thank you, young lord." Qilian was pleasantly surprised when he took the Chinquan bag from Emo Qingyun. He quickly expressed his gratitude to Emo Qingyun. If he could refine demigod tiger and demigod domineering spear's flesh, their cultivation would be greatly enhanced. They might even reach the peak of demigod realm. Emo Qingyun waved his hand indifferently at Qilian's gratitude. He rode on the tyrannical snow swanee and flew towards the people of Sky Pool, Sacred Mountain. He said, "Elders, because of me, the reopening banquet of Sky Pool, Sacred Mountain has been delayed. I'm very sorry. Mr. Mo, you're being too serious. We all believe that this was not Mr. Mo's intention." The elders of Sky Pool, Sacred Mountain were nervous when they heard Emo Qingyun's apology. They waved their hands repeatedly. What a joke. This was someone who could easily kill a demigod venerable. How could they accept his apology so easily? Emo Qingyun smiled faintly and shook his head when he saw the actions of the elders of the heavenly pool, sacred mountain. He said, "Now that I have settled my personal matters, let's continue with the banquet." All right. The elders of Sky, Pool, Sacred Mountain were delighted when they heard Mo Qingyun's suggestion. They gestured to Mo Qingyun and said, "Mr. Mo, please." In their eyes, Mo Qingyun was too reasonable. It would be a great fortune for them if they could befriend him in the Sky, Pool, Sacred Mountain. As for whether this would offend the three sacred mountains, the elders of the heavenly pool, Sacred Mountain, didn't think about it. In any case, the relationship between the heavenly pool, Sacred Mountain, and the three sacred mountains wasn't good. Even if the relationship between the heavenly pool, Sacred Mountain, and the three sacred mountains worsened because of Mo Qingyun, they wouldn't care at all. If they were able to befriend Mo Qingyun, the heavenly pool, Sacred Mountain, would gain another powerful ally. This would be the best outcome. I've delayed everyone's enjoyment of the banquet just now because of me. Let's take our seats again. Mo Qingyun had an indifferent expression on his face as he glanced at the people from the various sections. His tone carried a hint of threat. "Mr. Mo, you're exaggerating. Mr. Mo, please. We have been waiting for young Master Mo Qingyun. This is our greatest fortune." Under Mo Qingyun's cold gaze, the faces of the people from the various sects twitched. One by one, they smiled apologetically at Mo Qingyun. Then, the crowd followed behind Mo Qingyun and returned to their seats at the banquet. They had no choice. Mo Qingyun had even dared to kill a demigod powerhouse from the three sacred mountains. How could they dare to be arrogant in front of Mo Qingyun unless they were tired of living? More importantly, many of them didn't even have a demigod powerhouse in their sections. How could they compete with Mo Qingyun? Seeing the crowd's reaction, Mo Qingyun nodded his head in satisfaction. He didn't care whether they were willing or not. Seeing that the people from the various sects had returned to their seats, the elders of the heavenly pool, Sacred Mountain, were secretly delighted. Their faces were filled with joyful smiles. They'd been worried that the reopening banquet would be disrupted by the people from the three divine mountains. Now, under Mo Qingyun's tyrannical attack, the people from the three sacred mountains were all dead. They had no more worries. In addition, Mo Qingyun was here to keep the situation under control. Even if some people were unhappy, they wouldn't dare to say anything, unless they were tired of living and wanted to end up like the people from the three sacred mountains. Then, because of Mo Qingyun's presence, the banquet at the heavenly pool, Sacred Mountain's mountain gate went exceptionally smoothly. A few hours later, the banquet for the reopening of the mountain gate finally came to a successful conclusion. As the banquet came to an end, the people from the various sects came to bid farewell to Mo Qingyun. They expressed that their sects were willing to follow Mo Qingyun. From the battle just now, they could see that the power of Mo Qingyun's sect was no less than that of a demigod sect. If they didn't know how to curry favor with someone so powerful, they would really be living like dogs. Mo Qingyun left the fawning of the various sects to Song Luo. He went to find Xiao Yi and Supreme Su Chao. "Master, thank you for taking action and repelling the people from the three sacred mountains." Supreme Su Chao wore a respectful expression when he saw Mo Qingyun come to his courtyard. He hurriedly knelt down and bowed to Mo Qingyun. Supreme Su Chao already knew that Mo Qingyun had killed the people from the three sacred mountains. When he learned that Mo Qingyun had killed a half-step demigod venerable with a fourth-layer demigod cultivation, he was quite shocked. Even though he knew that Mo Qingyun was a reincarnated demigod venerable, it didn't make sense for him to be that strong. However, Supreme Su Chao was still very happy about Mo Qingyun's display of strength. After all, the stronger Mo Qingyun was, the greater their chances of revenge against the three sacred mountains would be. "Rise. I am the previous leader of the heavenly pool, Sacred Mountain. Naturally, I cannot allow other sects to behave so atrociously." Mo Qingyun smiled and waved his hand at Supreme Su Chao's actions. He walked over to a stone bench and sat down. He said, "Su Chao, in 3 days' time, I'll give a lecture on the heavenly pool, Sacred Mountain. I'll give you some pointers on pill refinement. In a while, pass down this matter and select the people who will listen to me. Master, you're going to teach us pill refinement. Su Chao's face lit up with joy and excitement when he heard this. Mo Qingyun had suddenly disappeared from the Tianhan continent several decades ago. Because of that, they had no one to teach them pill refinement. Even though their pill refinement skills had improved in the past few decades, the rate of improvement had been far too slow. How could Su Chao not be excited to hear Mo Qingyun's advice on pill refinement again? Yes, your disciple will do so immediately. Hearing Mo Qingyun's words, Supremacy, Su Chao revealed an excited expression. He was about to pass down the order immediately. Su Chao, wait a moment. Mo Qingyun called out when he saw what Su Chao was about to do. His expression turned serious. Aside from this matter, I have something more important to tell you. The path between the demon path and the Tianhan continent has been opened. It won't be long before the demonic cultivators from the demon path will invade the continent en masse. You must make preparations to fend them off. The demon path. Supreme Su Chao's expression immediately changed when he heard Mo Qingyun's words. His heart immediately became heavy. Even though he was a newly ascended autarch, he had heard of many of the secrets of the Tianhan continent. Outside of the Tianhan continent, there was an even larger world known as the Seven Ancient Paths. Chapter 977. It was said that the Seven Ancient Paths were an even higher level of cultivation than the Tianhan continent. In the Seven Ancient Paths, there were sovereigns at the 9th level of the martial Tao who could move mountains and seas with a wave of their hand. If such an existence were to lead their subordinates to invade the Tianhan continent, it would be a disaster for the continent. Master, if the demonic cultivators of the demon path are about to invade the Tianhan continent, should we inform the other sects? After calming down the shock and worry in his heart, Supreme Sepulchre put on a solemn expression and asked for Mo Qingyun's opinion. In Regent Su Chao's opinion, the demonic cultivators of the demon path were too powerful. It would be better to inform the other sects to be prepared. We do need to inform the other sects. Mo Qingyun nodded in agreement with Regent Su Chao's opinion. However, this is a matter of great importance. There's no need to inform the smaller sects so that the continent doesn't fall into chaos. Your disciple understands. Master, the invasion of demonic cultivators from the demonic path is far too shocking. Your disciple is worried that some of the sects won't believe it when they hear about it. Mo Qingyun nodded respectfully. Master, the invasion of demonic cultivators from the demonic path is far too shocking. Your disciple is worried that some sects won't believe it. Mo Qingyun didn't mind Regent Su Chao's concern. We don't need to worry about whether the other sects believe it or not. All we need to do is inform them and make sure we have a clear conscience. Understood. Regent Su Chao nodded with a clear plan in mind. After that, Mo Qingyun gave Regent Su Chao a few more instructions before leaving him to make the necessary arrangements. Mo Qingyun didn't leave his residence after Regent Su Chao left. Instead, he entered a room and began to cultivate. After entering the room, Mo Qingyun's figure flashed and entered the 2nd floor of the 5-directional pagoda. I wonder if I can enter the 3rd floor now that I've reached the 4th level of the 5 Directions Tower. Looking at the entrance to the 3rd floor in front of him, Mo Qingyun revealed an expression of anticipation and walked towards the 3rd floor of the 5 Directions miniature pagoda. As Mo Qingyun walked towards the entrance of the 3rd floor of the 5 Directions small pagoda, a terrifying pressure weighed down on him. Under the suppression of this pressure, Mo Qingyun could be said to be struggling to move. With every step he took, the pressure on his body doubled. When Mo Qingyun reached the stairs leading to the 3rd floor, he felt like 100 mountains were weighing down on him. He couldn't even straighten his body. What terrifying pressure! Feeling the pressure on his body, Mo Qingyun's expression couldn't help but change. Shock rose in his heart. He didn't expect that it would still be so difficult for him to enter the 3rd floor of the 5-directional pagoda, even though he was already at the 4th level of the God Realm. Mo Qingyun took a step forward and landed heavily on the stairs, making a loud noise. After Mo Qingyun stepped on the stairs, an even more terrifying pressure weighed down on him. Mo Qingyun's expression changed drastically when he felt the pressure. He exclaimed, "Willpower? It's the willpower of a supreme being. It seems like I'll have to break through to the supreme being realm before I can enter the third floor of the Five Directions Tower." After this discovery, Mo Qingyun stopped thinking about it and turned to leave the entrance to the third floor of the Five Directions small pagoda. After sensing the willpower, he knew that with his current cultivation, it was impossible for him to enter the third floor of the Five Directions miniature pagoda. Mo Qingyun's expression changed when he gave up on entering the third floor of the Five Directions Tower. He thought to himself, "I wonder if I can cultivate the third style of the Fiend Fist-Shattering Galaxy and the Five Directions Heaven-Breaking Technique with my current cultivation of the Four Directions Divine Power." With this thought in mind, Mo Qingyun no longer hesitated and began to try to cultivate the Fiend Fist-Shattering Star River and the Five Direction Heaven-Breaking Technique. The result was the same. He failed to cultivate the two martial arts. "It seems like my cultivation is still too low. Even if I have powerful martial arts manuals, I can't cultivate them." Mo Qingyun sighed inwardly when he saw that his two attempts had failed. He clenched his fists and said with a determined expression, "If that's the case, I'll have to speed up my cultivation and break through to the half-supreme being realm as soon as possible." With this thought, Mo Qingyun no longer hesitated. He raised his hand and took out a large amount of core yuan crystals. Compared to elemental spirit stones, the elixir energy crystals contained was pure and richer. It was easier to absorb. Mo Qingyun took out the elixir energy crystals and placed them around his body. He then sat down cross-legged and activated the Devouring Gate. Under the absorption of the Devouring Gate, the elixir energy contained in the elixir energy crystals was quickly extracted and poured into the Devouring Gate. As the Devouring Gate absorbed the elixir energy crystals and channeled it into Mo Qingyun's body, Mo Qingyun refined it with all his might. As Mo Qingyun refined the elixir energy in his body, his cultivation rose rapidly. Soon, he broke through the early stage of the fourth level of the Divine Power Realm. As time passed, Mo Qingyun's cultivation rose little by little. Time always passed very quickly during cultivation. In the blink of an eye, 2 months had passed in the Five Directions small pagoda. At this moment, Mo Qingyun, who was cultivating, slowly opened his eyes. The limit of the fourth level of the Divine Power Realm. Sensing his current realm, Mo Qingyun frowned slightly and sighed in his heart. "Just one more step, and my cultivation can enter the fifth level of the Divine Power Realm. What a pity." If others were to hear Mo Qingyun's words, they would definitely be scared to death. Since the five-directional small pagoda used a time-shifting array, only 3 days had passed in the outside world. In just 3 days, Mo Qingyun's cultivation rose from the peak of the early stage of the fourth level of the Divine Power Realm to the peak of the fourth level of the Divine Power Realm. What a frightening cultivation speed. Mo Qingyun sighed in his heart. He stopped thinking about it and left the five-directional small pagoda. 3 days have already passed. I wonder how Su Chao's arrangements are going? Mo Qingyun returned to his room. He opened the door and walked out, thinking about how he was going to guide everyone in refining pills. "Master, you're done with your cultivation?" Seeing Mo Qingyun walk out of his room, Supreme Su Chao, who was sitting in the courtyard, greeted him with a faint smile. "Yes." Mo Qingyun nodded with a faint smile as he watched Supreme Su Chao approach. He asked, "Su Chao, have you made any arrangements for me to give a lecture and guide everyone in pill refinement?" Replying to Master, "Everything has been arranged properly." Supreme Su Chao revealed a stern expression when he heard that. He reported the progress of the matter to Mo Qingyun, then asked, "Master, what are we going to do? Since that's the case, bring me there." Mo Qingyun nodded in satisfaction. He told Supreme Su Chao that he was going there right away. "Yes." Chapter 978. The person who taught them the art of alchemy was actually Mo Qingyun, who had displayed his prowess before. Seeing that the person teaching was Mo Qingyun, the elders and disciples of Sky Sword Sacred Mountain were all shocked. Could it be that Mo Qingyun knew alchemy? At that moment, everyone was filled with doubt. They felt that it was unreal and they could not accept what was happening. However, due to Mo Qingyun's status and power, no one dared to show any disrespect. Mo Qingyun did not care about the crowd's reaction. He calmly explained to the crowd. Seeing that Mo Qingyun was speaking, everyone's expression turned serious as they listened attentively to Mo Qingyun's knowledge of alchemy. As the crowd continued to listen, the shock on their faces became more and more intense. They realized that Mo Qingyun's knowledge and understanding of alchemy was far beyond their imagination. After a while, everyone looked at Mo Qingyun in a different light. At this moment, Mo Qingyun's image in everyone's hearts was no longer that of a young man in his 20s. Instead, he was an immortal-like expert. As everyone listened attentively, Mo Qingyun's narration became much smoother, and the speed of his narration sped up. Under Mo Qingyun's continuous explanation, the elders and disciples of Sky Pool Sacred Mountain entered a state of intoxication. The knowledge of alchemy that Mo Qingyun spoke of was a completely new understanding to them. It opened a whole new door for them. Mo Qingyun's lecture went on for 7 days and 7 nights. After 7 days and 7 nights, Mo Qingyun realized that the crowd's acceptance of new knowledge had reached a limit. If he continued, not only would the crowd not be able to absorb more knowledge, it would also affect the knowledge they had memorized. As Mo Qingyun stopped his explanation, the crowd closed their eyes and immersed themselves in the knowledge they had learned. Seeing this, Mo Qingyun slowly stood up and walked out of the classroom. "Master, I'll send you off." Seeing Mo Qingyun's actions, Paragon Su Chao hurriedly stood up and sent Mo Qingyun off. Mo Qingyun did not stop Paragon Su Chao's actions. He nodded indifferently and said, "Su Chao, since I'm done with my lecture, I'll be leaving Sky Pool Sacred Mountain now." "Master, you're leaving Sky Pool Sacred Mountain?" Hearing Mo Qingyun's words, Paragon Su Chao was shocked. He was extremely surprised. In his opinion, now that the Heavenly Pool Sacred Mountain had been rebuilt as the previous owner of the Heavenly Pool Sacred Mountain, Mo Qingyun should be staying in the Heavenly Pool Sacred Mountain. "Yes." Mo Qingyun nodded sternly in response to Paragon Su Chao's surprise. He said worriedly, "A few days ago, I killed the people of the 3 sacred mountains during the banquet. I'm worried that they will seek revenge on Qingyun Palace. As such, I need to return to Qingyun Palace." Givenly he and the others' personalities, they won't just let it go after suffering such a huge loss. We do need to be wary of them. Paragon Su Chao nodded in agreement when he heard Mo Qingyun's words. He said, "Master, why don't I go with you to Qingyun Palace? If anything happens, I'll be able to lend you a hand." "There's no need." Mo Qingyun waved his hand with a faint smile in response to Sovereign Su Chao's suggestion. He replied, "The Divine Mountain of Heaven Pool has just been rebuilt. There are still some matters that need to be taken care of, so you need to remain here. You cannot leave so easily." "Yes, I understand." Paragon Su Chao no longer insisted after hearing Mo Qingyun's words. He obeyed Mo Qingyun's arrangements. Mo Qingyun was right. Sky Pool's Sacred Mountain had just been rebuilt. It was inevitable that there would be some troubles. Sky Pool's Sacred Mountain couldn't do without him. Qingyun Palace doesn't have any Supremes, but even if a Supremes were to invade, he wouldn't be able to gain any advantages. Mo Qingyun smiled and comforted Paragon Su Chao, as if he was worried that Paragon Su Chao was still worried. Paragon Su Chao's expression changed when he heard Mo Qingyun's words. Surprise and curiosity rose in his heart. Qingyun Palace was actually this powerful? Paragon Su Chao truly couldn't imagine that Mo Qingyun would be able to create such a powerful organization after just a dozen years of recultivation. It was just too surprising. After that, Mo Qingyun and Paragon Su Chao chatted as they walked, discussing the hidden dangers of Sky Pool Sacred Mountain. 15 minutes later, Mo Qingyun separated from Paragon Su Chao and left Sky Pool Sacred Mountain with Song Luo and the others. Tyrant Snow, let's go. After arriving at the Sky Pool Sacred Mountain's gate, Mo Qingyun rode on the back of the Tyrant Snow Swanee and ordered it to return to Qingyun Palace. After receiving Mo Qingyun's orders, the Tyrant Snow Swanee didn't dare to hesitate. It respectfully carried Mo Qingyun forward. Looking at Mo Qingyun riding on the Tyrant Snow Swanee, Wang Quan and the others revealed expressions of reverence. Their eyes were filled with fanaticism and worship. In their eyes, Mo Qingyun was probably the number one person in the Heavenly Soul Continent to have a demonic beast mount at the 4th level of the Transcendent Realm. In the following time, Mo Qingyun and the others returned to Qingyun Palace together. On the way back to Qingyun Palace, it could be said to be very smooth. They didn't meet anyone who didn't know their place. A few days later, Mo Qingyun and the others returned to Qingyun Palace. This is Qingyun Palace? Looking at the huge palace in front of them, Wang Quan and the others were shocked. In their hearts, they revered Mo Qingyun even more. Not to mention the strength of the disciples of Qingyun Palace. Just based on the size of the sect, it wasn't the slightest bit inferior to a paragon sect. We respectfully welcome the young lord. When Mo Qingyun walked into Qingyun Palace, the Iron Wing and the others who knew that Mo Qingyun had returned hurriedly went to welcome Mo Qingyun. No need for such formalities. Mo Qingyun smiled faintly and waved his hand in response to the Iron Wing and the others' actions. He asked, Iron Wing, has Qingyun Palace been attacked in the past few days? Replying to the young lord, Qingyun Palace has been fine recently. It hasn't been harassed in the slightest. In response to Mo Qingyun's question, the Iron Wing revealed a serious expression and reported to Mo Qingyun about the recent situation in Qingyun Palace. That's good. After listening to the Iron Wing's report, Mo Qingyun's expression relaxed slightly. He nodded with satisfaction and said, Iron Wing, you are more familiar with Sky Sword Sacred Mountain, Sky Spear Sacred Mountain, and Beast Sacred Mountain. Next, I have an important task for you to do. Hearing this, the Iron Wing immediately stopped and made a gesture of volunteering. Young Lord, please give the order. The Iron Wing will definitely complete it. All right. Chapter 979. Yes. Hearing this, Iron Wing nodded and prepared to complete Mo Qingyun's task. However, just as the Iron Wing was about to turn around and leave, his gaze fell on the Lion Tyrant Snow. The Sky Sword Sacred Mountain had a good relationship with the Imperial Beast Sacred Mountain. Hence, the Iron Wing knew a little about the Imperial Beast Sacred Mountain's half-venerable tiger Subdue. He knew that the Imperial Beast Sacred Mountain's half-venerable tiger Subdue had a battle beast called the Tyrannical Snow Swanee. Tyrannical Snow Swanee, half-venerable subduing tiger's beast. Looking at the tyrannical snow lion beside Mo Qingyun, Iron Wing revealed a surprised expression. He was somewhat surprised by the appearance of the tyrannical snow lion. The tyrannical snow lion was half-venerable tiger Subdue's beast. Shouldn't it be following half-venerable tiger Subdue? Why would he appear beside Mo Qingyun? At this moment, a wave of doubt arose in the Iron Wing's mind. He could not understand what was happening. King Iron Wing, long time no see. Seeing Iron Wing looking at him, Tyrannical Snow shook his head and greeted Iron Wing. Are you curious as to why I am here? Iron Wing nodded and curiously looked at Tyrannical Snow. Half-venerable tiger Subdue wanted to harm Master, but he was killed by Master. After that, Master gave me a way out and made me his mount. Tyrannical Snow looked at Mo Qingyun and explained what had happened, explaining why he had appeared here. Half-venerable tiger is dead. After listening to Tyrannical Snow's narration, Iron Wing suddenly revealed a shocked expression. He felt that this was hard to believe. According to Tyrannical Snow, Didn't this mean that half-venerable Tiger Subdue had died at the hands of Mo Qingyun? However, Mo Qingyun was only at the peak of the 4th level of the Transcendent Realm. How did he manage to kill half-venerable Tiger? Furthermore, half-venerable Tiger was not an ordinary half-venerable. He even had a half-venerable beast. In other words, if Mo Qingyun wanted to kill half-venerable Tiger Subdue, he would need to have the ability to crush 2 half-venerables. Mo Qingyun had such strength. Iron Wing's heart was full of doubts. It was not that he did not believe in Mo Qingyun, but this matter was too mysterious. After a short while, Iron Wing calmed down and turned to look at Mo Qingyun. He asked, "Young lord, did you really?" "Ba Shui is right. I did kill half-venerable Tiger Subdue." Mo Qingyun nodded solemnly in response to Iron Wing's question. After a moment of thought, he said, "Back then, the people of the Heavenly Pool Sacred Mountain, the Bee Sacred Mountain, and the Sky Sword Sacred Mountain worked together to deal with me and Qi Lian." Next, Mo Qingyun briefly explained the situation to Iron Wing and the others. But after hearing Mo Qingyun's story, Iron Wing and the others felt their heads buzzing. They were shocked by Mo Qingyun's words. Mo Qingyun had actually killed 2 half-venerables and almost 100 Transcendent Realm experts with his own strength. This was too ferocious. Unbeknownst to them, the strength that Mo Qingyun possessed had actually risen to such a terrifying degree. "This, young lord, what amazing combat strength!" Immediately after, Tai Yi sucked in a breath of cold air. The way he looked at Mo Qingyun changed drastically as he thought to himself. With young master's terrifying battle strength, even the geniuses of the Wasteland's continent will pale in comparison. That's the gist of what happened. Just keep it to yourself. There's no need to spread it within the sect. After giving a simple explanation to everyone, Mo Qingyun instructed them before turning to Iron Wing and saying, "Iron Wing, if there's nothing else, take the Eye Demons and wipe out those sections. Perhaps I'll need the Eye Demons to protect the sect in the near future." "Yes, young lord." Iron Wing nodded and turned to leave. "Let's go in." Seeing Iron Wing leave, Mo Qingyun nodded to Song Luo and the others, indicating for them to enter Qin Yun's palace. Everyone nodded in response to Mo Qingyun's words. They followed Mo Qingyun into Qin Yun's palace. Song Luo, I've already informed Supreme Su Chao. If the Mist Pond sect wishes to submit to the Heavenly Pool Sacred Mountain once more, he will select a mountain near the Heavenly Pool Sacred Mountain for you to build your Mist Pond sect there. On the way into Qin Yun's palace, Missouri Qin Yun turned to Song Luo and the others and instructed them. Song Luo, and the others were stunned when they heard Mo Qingyun's words. Their hearts were filled with surprise and astonishment. They were surprised that the Misty Pond sect would submit to the Heavenly Pool Sacred Mountain again so easily. The Misty Pond sect now had a powerful backing. What shocked them was that Mo Qingyun was actually able to instruct Supreme Su Chao to do something for him. Wasn't that just a little too impressive? At that moment, while Song Luo and the others were shocked, Mo Qingyun continued after a moment of silence. "Of course, if you want to submit to Qin Yun's palace, you can establish a sect near it. However, I've killed the people of the 3 Divine Mountains. If you establish a sect near Qin Yun's palace, they might take their anger out on you. As for what to do, you could discuss it later." Song Luo and the others were stunned when they heard Mo Qingyun's words. They never thought that Mo Qingyun would actually say something like that. Very soon, Song Luo and the others came to a decision. They looked at Mo Qingyun with solemn expressions. "Master, I've decided. I'll establish a sect near Qin Yun's palace. From now on, the Misty Pond sect will be a subordinate force of Qin Yun's palace." In Song Luo and the others' eyes, Qin Yun's palace had even greater potential than the Heavenly Pool Sacred Mountain. It was very likely that it would become the #1 force in the Heavenly Soul Continent in the future. However, they would be taking a very big risk by doing so. However, opportunities and dangers often coexisted. They were willing to gamble with the Misty Pond sect's future. Back then, the reason why Song Luo and the others made such a decision was not only because they saw the potential of Qin Yun's palace, but also because he had become Mo Qingyun's in-name disciple. From Song Luo's point of view, although Mo Qingyun did not acknowledge him as a disciple, he had to acknowledge Mo Qingyun as his master. Since that was the case, how could he stay away from Qin Yun's palace just because it was in trouble? All right, I will instruct Qi Lian later and let him choose a location for the Misty Pond sect. Mo Qingyun nodded indifferently at Song Luo's decision. He instructed him, Qi Lian is currently in closed-door cultivation. I'm afraid he won't be able to arrange a location for you. Since that's the case, you will stay in Qin Yun's palace for a few days. When Qi Lian's closed-door cultivation ends, I will have him arrange a location for you. Yes. Hearing Mo Qingyun's instructions, Song Luo and the others nodded respectfully. After that, Mo Qingyun instructed Song Luo and the others again. Then, he let Shai Yunjin take them to rest. After settling Song Luo and the others, Mo Qingyun went to meet the Mo family and check on their situation. With the help of sufficient cultivation resources and the guidance of many experts, their cultivation had improved greatly. Now, the cultivation of the Mo family's juniors had reached the Heaven Star border realm. The older generation was basically at the advanced Heaven Star border realm. Chapter 980. After meeting the Mo clan, Mo Qingyun went to the residence of Yu Wuyo, Wen Zhaodi, and the other girls to ask about their recent situation. During the conversation with the girls, Mo Qingyun corrected and gave some pointers to the girls' cultivation situation. However, to Mo Qingyun's surprise, Wang Zishu left Qingyun Palace a few months ago. Zishu left. Hearing Wen Zhaodi's story, Mo Qingyun was surprised by the news. After a brief moment of surprise, Mo Qingyun frowned and began to ponder. Zishu has a reincarnation mark on her body. Could it be that she has awakened the memories of her previous life? When Mo Qingyun thought of this, he no longer hesitated and asked Wen Zhaodi, Zhaodi, before Zishu left Qingyun Palace, did she have any abnormal behavior? Abnormal behavior? Wen Zhaodi frowned slightly and began to ponder. She pondered for a moment and said she didn't have any abnormal behavior, but in the past year, Zishu's cultivation had increased very quickly. When she left Qingyun Palace, her cultivation had already broken through to level 4 of the divine power. Level 4 of the divine power. Mo Qingyun was shocked by Wen Zhaodi's words. He was very surprised by Wang Zishu's cultivation speed. After a brief moment of surprise, Mo Qingyun revealed a look of understanding and said to himself, it seems that Zishu's reincarnation mark has loosened, allowing her to awaken part of her memories. At this moment, while Mo Qingyun was frowning and thinking silently, Wen Zhaodi had a difficult expression and pleaded, Young lord, I have left the Wen clan for many years. I want to return to the Wen clan after some time. Return to the Wen clan? Hearing Wen Zhaodi's words, Mo Qingyun's expression changed slightly. He understood Wen Zhaodi's feelings and thought to himself, now that the passage between the Demon Road and the Tianhan continent is opened, many demonic cultivators have entered the Tianhan continent. It is indeed not safe for the Wen clan to stay in Ice Glaze City. After thinking about this, Mo Qingyun made a decision and looked at Wen Zhaodi with a serious expression. There are many hidden dangers in the Tianhan continent now. It is not safe for you to return to the Wen clan alone. Wait a few days. I will accompany you to Ice Glaze City. The reason why Mo planned this plan was mainly because he was worried that when Zishu would encounter demonic cultivators on the way to the Tianhan continent. Wen Zhaodi didn't know what Mo Qingyun was thinking. After hearing this, she said with an excited expression, Young lord, you will come with me to Ice Glaze City? She couldn't believe that Mo Qingyun wanted to send her to Ice Glaze City. This flattered her too much. At this moment, Wen Zhaodi suddenly felt that all her efforts over the years were worth it. Mo Qingyun smiled faintly at Wen Zhaodi's shock and asked Wen Zhaodi in return, What's wrong? Don't tell me you don't want me to accompany you. No, no. Hearing Mo Qingyun's words, Wen Zhaodi quickly shook her head and denied it. Her charming face was slightly red as she said, It's just too unexpected. Young lord, you are so naughty. After saying this, Wen Zhaodi revealed a shy expression. She lowered her head and didn't say anything else. Seeing Wen Zhaodi's performance, Mo Qingyun rubbed his nose and suddenly felt speechless. Subsequently, Mo Qingyun stopped teasing Wen Zhaodi and said to Wen Zhaodi with a faint smile, Okay, make some preparations in the next few days. After I finish dealing with the matters at hand, I will go with you to Ice Glaze City. Okay. Wen Zhaodi revealed a secretly delighted and touched expression. She obediently nodded in response and turned to return to her room. Seeing Wen Zhaodi return to her room, Mo Qingyun didn't continue to stay and headed towards He Xian's residence. Unfortunately, He Xian had entered secluded cultivation a few days ago in an attempt to break through to the pseudo-venerable level. Knowing this, Mo Qingyun didn't disturb He Xian any longer. He left He Xian's residence and began to set up a defensive formation for Qingyun Palace. Although it had been some time since the construction of Qingyun Palace, Missouri Qingyun hadn't had the time to set up a defensive formation for Qingyun Palace due to various delays. Now that he had returned to Qingyun Palace, he naturally couldn't delay any longer. After all, he had made enemies with the three divine mountains not long ago. In order to prevent Qingyun Palace from falling into a passive position when the three divine mountains attacked, it was necessary to set up a defensive formation for the sect. Seeing Mo Qingyun set up a defensive formation for Qingyun Palace, Song Luo and the others were shocked again. They were greatly shocked by Mo Qingyun's actions. At this moment, Mo Qingyun had become an omnipotent existence in their hearts. As Qingyun Palace occupied a large area, Mo Qingyun spent a lot of time setting up the formation this time. It took him half a month's time. While Mo Qingyun was setting up the formation, Qi Lian had successfully refined half-venerable Tiger Subdue and half-venerable Domineering Spear's bloodline power, increasing his cultivation by a step. With the help of half-venerable Tiger Subdue and half-venerable Domineering Spear's bloodline power, Qi Lian's cultivation had risen to the limit of half-venerable. He was only one step away from the Supremacy realm. However, this step was extremely difficult to cross. If he didn't have the opportunity, he might not be able to cross it in his lifetime. However, Qi Lian wasn't in a hurry. His current cultivation had far surpassed that of his previous life. For him, this was already a huge leap. Moreover, since he had met Mo Qingyun, his cultivation had been advancing by leaps and bounds. Now, he needed to stabilize his cultivation. After Qi Lian's seclusion ended, he followed Mo Qingyun's instructions and went to arrange a sect for Song Luo and the others. After Mo Qingyun finished setting up the formation, he accompanied Wen Zhaodi to Ice Glaze City. On the way to Ice Glaze City, Mo Qingyun didn't bring anyone else. He only rode on the tyrannical snow lion with Wen Zhaodi. Mo Qingyun thought to himself, with his current strength, he could even fight against a Supremacy realm expert. In that case, there was no need for him to bring his entourage along. Moreover, He Xian was in seclusion now. The Iron Wing had gone to wipe out the other sections. Qingyun Palace was still facing the threat of the three sacred mountains. If Qi Lian left with him, Qingyun Palace wouldn't have a single expert to guard it. This obviously wouldn't do. Moreover, the tyrannical snow lion was a half-venerable expert. It was more than enough to deal with the problems encountered on the way to Ice Glaze City. Not only was the tyrannical snow lion a half-venerable expert, but it was also the descendant of an ancient divine beast. Its flying speed was undoubtedly extremely fast. Mo Qingyun estimated that with the tyrannical snow lion's full speed, it would take more than a month to reach Ice Glaze City from Qingyun Palace. Seeing that it would take a month to reach Ice Glaze City, Mo Qingyun didn't hesitate and brought Wen Zhaodi into the Five Directions Pagoda to cultivate. Chapter 981. After entering the five-directional miniature pagoda, Mo Qingyun gave Wen Zhaodi some instructions before entering the second floor. Arriving at the second floor of the five-directional pagoda, Mo Qingyun sat down cross-legged and began cultivating. As Mo Qingyun began to cultivate, his aura grew stronger and stronger until it reached a critical point. He was about to break through to the fifth level of the divinity tier. Seeing this, Mo Qingyun no longer hesitated. He immediately gathered the energy in his body and prepared to break through to the fifth level of the divinity tier. One day later, Mo Qingyun's aura suddenly rose to a whole new level. His cultivation had broken through to the fifth level of the divinity tier. After breaking through to the divinity tier, Mo Qingyun didn't stop cultivating. Instead, he continued to cultivate and stabilize his current level. The time that followed slowly passed by as Mo Qingyun cultivated. In the blink of an eye, a month had passed. At this moment, Mo Qingyun, who was cultivating on the second floor of the five-directional pagoda, finally withdrew from his cultivation. Peak mid-stage of the fifth level of the divinity tier. Sensing his cultivation, Mo Qingyun's expression turned serious. He thought to himself, after breaking through to the divinity realm, the further I advance, the harder it becomes. If I want to break through to the divinity realm, I'll need to spend at least 3 times the amount of time to break through to the divinity realm from the divinity realm. It seems that it'll be very difficult for me to reach Demi-Exalt before the demonic cultivators from the Demon Road invade the Tianhan continent. Thinking about the invasion of the demonic cultivators from the Demon Road, Mo Qingyun felt like he was sitting on a bed of needles. It's already been a month. I wonder if I've reached the ice-glazed city? Mo Qingyun sorted out his emotions and stopped thinking about other things. With a flash, he left the second floor of the five-direction pagoda. Soon, Mo Qingyun appeared in front of Wen Zhaodi and took her away from the five-directional towers. Leaving the five-directional pagoda, Mo Qingyun and Wen Zhaodi appeared on the back of Tyrannical Snow and asked, "Tyrannical Snow, where are we now? How far are we from Ice Glaze City?" "Master, according to the route you gave me earlier, we are about half a day away from Ice Glaze City." Hearing Mo Qingyun's inquiry, Tyrannical Snow respectfully responded. His tone became somewhat heavy as he continued. However, in the past few hours, this subordinate discovered that many ancient formations and taboos had appeared on the way to Ice Glaze City. "Oh, is there such a thing?" Hearing Tyrannical Snow's words, Mo Qingyun's expression immediately shook. He was somewhat surprised by this situation. At this moment, while Mo Qingyun was surprised, Tyrannical Snow was silent for a moment before speaking again. "Master, recently on the Heavenly Soul continent, ruins from ancient times have been appearing constantly. This subordinate guesses that ancient ruins may also appear in the surrounding areas of Ice Glaze City, which would lead to the emergence of various ancient formations and taboos." Ancient ruins? Hearing this, Mo Qingyun's brows furrowed slightly. He was surprised by Tyrannical Snow's words. This situation was somewhat beyond his expectations. However, at the same time that Mo Qingyun was surprised, his heart was also filled with anticipation. In ancient times, the cultivation civilization of the Heavenly Soul continent had gradually declined. But even so, in ancient times, there were still countless experts in the Heavenly Soul continent, and there was no lack of Ninth Realm Martial Dao Dominator experts. In Mo Qingyun's opinion, if he could encounter the ruins of a Dominator expert, it would definitely be an incredible fortuitous encounter. Of course, the ruins of a Dominator expert were extremely rare, and it was not so easy to encounter them. This kind of thing could only be encountered by chance and not sought. Next, as Mo Qingyun continued to approach Ice Glaze City, they encountered more and more cultivators on the way. Under Mo Qingyun's perception, there was no lack of experts with high-level divine ability cultivation among them. This situation really surprised Mo Qingyun. What happened to Ice Glaze City? How could it attract so many experts? Could it be that ancient ruins have really appeared? Looking at these people who appeared on the way, Mo Qin-yun felt puzzled in his heart. He could not help but somewhat believe Tyrannical Snow's guess. Of course, when Mo Qin-yun thought so, he also rejoiced in his heart. Fortunately, this time he came to Ice Glaze City with Wenjiaodi. Otherwise, with the current situation, it was definitely not something that Wenjiaodi could deal with. After thinking so, Mo Qin-yun's expression became a little more dignified, and he said worriedly, "So many divine ability experts have gone to Ice Glaze City. I wonder how the Wen clan is now." Several hours later, under Tyrannical Snow's full flight, Mo Qin-yun and the others finally arrived at Ice Glaze City. What surprised Mo Qin-yun was that Ice Glaze City had turned into a mess at this moment, as if it was an ancient battlefield. After seeing this scene, Mo Qin-yun released his soul power and sensed Ice Glaze City. "And my soul power is blocked by a hidden power in Ice Glaze City?" Sensing the abnormality in Ice Glaze City, Mo Qin-yun immediately frowned, and a sense of shock rose in his heart. Now that his soul power cultivation had reached the late stage of the divinity realm, he was not far from the Wanxiang realm. But even so, his soul power still could not spread, which was somewhat abnormal. It could be seen that there were indeed some secrets in Ice Glaze City today. Among the 8 major forces in Ice Glaze City, even the strongest E-clan was only at the advanced Heavenly Dipper realm. Now that such an unforeseen event had suddenly occurred in Ice Glaze City, the situation of the 8 major forces in Ice Glaze City was probably not very optimistic. "Young Lord, what do we do now? Will anything happen to the Wen clan?" Seeing the scene in Ice Glaze City, Wenjiaodi showed a worried expression and asked Mo Qin-yun. At this moment, in Wenjiaodi's heart, there was no doubt that Mo Qin-yun was the backbone. "Don't worry. Let's enter Ice Glaze City first and go to the Wen clan's mansion to take a look." In response to Wenjiaodi's worry, Mo Qin-yun showed a dignified expression and comforted her. Later, Mo Qin-yun took Wenjiaodi to the front of the Wen clan's mansion. To Mo Qin-yun's disappointment, the Wen clan's mansion was now a mess, and there was no sign of anyone walking around. After seeing this scene, Wenjiaodi's face turned pale, and her expression was full of worry. Was the Wen clan gone just like that? Chapter 982. N. I understand. Hearing Mo Qin-yun's words, Wenjiaodi nodded and wiped away the tears at the corners of her eyes. Her complexion improved a lot. Seeing that Wenjiaodi's complexion improved, Mo Qin-yun's expression relaxed a little, and he took Wenjiaodi to find someone to inquire about the situation. Soon, Mo Qin-yun and Wenjiaodi arrived outside Ice Glaze City and ran into a middle-aged man who was rushing over. "Excuse me, friend. Do you know what happened in Ice Glaze City? Where did the people of Ice Glaze City go?" Mo Qin-yun walked up to the other party with a humble expression and asked him about the situation in Ice Glaze City. Hearing Mo Qin-yun's question, the other party stopped and sized up Mo Qin-yun and Wenjiaodi before saying, "Both of you, from what you've said, you should have just arrived at Ice Glaze City, right?" "That's right." Mo Qin-yun nodded. "So that's how it is. No wonder you don't know about the situation in Ice Glaze City." Seeing Mo Qin-yun and Wenjiaodi's expressions, the man revealed a look of understanding, and his expression became solemn as he said, 3 months ago, an ancient battlefield hidden beneath Ice Glaze City was unearthed and evolved into countless ancient formations and taboos. Due to the appearance of such a strange phenomenon, all the clans and sects that once resided in Ice Glaze City have moved out of Ice Glaze City. As for where they went, I'm not very sure. So all the major forces have moved out of Ice Glaze City. Hearing this man say so, Mo Qin-yun and Wenjiaodi's expressions relaxed, and the worry in their hearts lessened a lot. So it seemed that the people of the Wen clan should have evacuated and not lost their lives in Ice Glaze City. Since the Wen clan has moved to Ice Glaze City, there shouldn't be any danger. Mo Qin-yun consoled Wenjiaodi, and then he paused for a moment and pondered for a moment before he said, "Presently, we don't know where the Wen clan has moved to. If we go there directly, it would undoubtedly be no different than looking for a needle in a haystack. Why don't we stay in Ice Slave City for a few days and inquire about the Wen clan's whereabouts? Yes. In response to Mo Qingyun's suggestion, Wen Zhaodi didn't even think about it and immediately nodded in agreement. To her, Mo Qingyun must have his reasons for making such arrangements. Hearing Mo Qingyun's words, the person to the side smiled faintly and invited Mo Qingyun. You two, there are many fierce spirits in the vicinity of Ice Glaze City. If you two want to stay here, it would be best for you to become sworn brothers. This way, you can look after each other. Many thanks for brother's good intentions, I understand. Hearing this, Mo Qingyun's expression changed slightly. He cupped his hands and thanked the person before he said, In that case, we will bid farewell here. See you again someday. AI. Seeing Mo Qingyun and Wen Zhaodi's reactions, the person sighed, knowing that Mo Qingyun didn't take his words to heart. Brother, please wait a moment. After sighing, the person revealed an unbearable expression and hurriedly called out to Mo Qingyun. You two, the underground passage 1.5 miles west of Ice Glaze City is the entrance to the ancient battlefield. It's best that you two don't rashly enter, so as to avoid encountering powerful, fierce spirits in the battlefield. Oh, the entrance to the ancient battlefield is 1.5 miles west of Ice Glaze City? Hearing this, Mo Qingyun revealed a curious expression, intending to go to the ancient battlefield to take a look. He said to Wen Zhaodi, Zhaodi, there must be many cultivators who have entered the ancient battlefield. If we also go in, perhaps we can ask those people where the Wen clan migrated to. Then let's go to the ancient battlefield now. Hearing Mo Qingyun's words, Wen Zhaodi's expression changed, revealing an impatient expression. With that, Mo Qingyun and Wen Zhaodi didn't say anything else and directly prepared to go to the ancient battlefield. AI, why are these two so stubborn? Seeing Mo Qingyun and Wen Zhaodi's actions, the person to the side suddenly revealed a bitter smile, his heart instantly depressed to the extreme. Was he advising them to seek fortune and avoid calamity? Why did it feel like he was advising Mo Qingyun and Wen Zhaodi to go to their deaths? Thinking of this, the person no longer hesitated and hurriedly shouted to Mo Qingyun, Brother, why are you so stubborn? With your cultivation, it will be very dangerous if you enter the ancient battlefield. Hearing this person's exasperated words, Mo Qingyun's gaze towards him changed slightly, and a favorable impression of him grew in his heart. This person had repeatedly advised him, so it could be seen that he was an upright and warm-hearted person. Mo Qingyun didn't find it strange that this person would have such thoughts. On the surface, his and Wen Zhaodi's cultivation was indeed somewhat low. Now, just as Mo Qingyun was feeling grateful to this person, the person gritted his teeth, sighed, and said, How about this? It just so happens that I'm going to enter the ancient battlefield with a few friends. Why don't the two of you come with me? This way, the safety of the two of you will be more guaranteed. Hearing this person's words, Mo Qingyun's favorable impression of him involuntarily improved a little. Now, it seemed that this person was really a warm-hearted person. In that case, I'll have to trouble you, brother. Mo Qingyun smiled faintly and thanked the other party with cupped fists, accepting the other party's good intentions. Mo Qingyun thought to himself. He wasn't familiar with the ancient battlefield, so it wouldn't be a bad idea to have this person to lead the way. You're welcome, it's nothing much. Seeing that Mo Qingyun was willing to go with him, this person instantly heaved a sigh of relief, as if thinking that he had finally persuaded Mo Qingyun. Then, this person revealed a hearty smile, patted his chest, and said, I'm Han Bai. May I know your name? Mo Qingyun, this is my cousin, Wen Zhaodi. After hearing the other party's words, Mo Qingyun smiled faintly and introduced the two of them. Han Bai didn't think too much about Mo Qingyun's introduction and didn't suspect the relationship between Wen Zhaodi and Mo Qingyun. Then, Mo Qingyun and Han Bai exchanged a few words and followed Han Bai to find his friends. About 15 minutes later, under Han Bai's guidance, Qingyun met Han Bai's friend of the past 3 months. Han Bai's three friends were Lang Lei, Zhuoxing, and Wu Yan. Their cultivation was the same as Han Bai's, at the 7th level of the divine power. Among them, Wu Yan's cultivation was the highest, at the peak of the 7th level of the divine power. She was the leader of Han Bai's group. Han Bai, this little brother and little sister are. Looking at Qingyun beside Han Bai, Wu Yan and the other two were curious and asked about Qingyun and Luo Xing's background. When the three of them asked Han Bai, their expressions clearly revealed a sense of wariness. Clearly, the three of them were wary of Qingyun and Luo Xing and didn't seem to welcome Qingyun and Luo Xing. Chapter 983. This is brother Qingyun, and the one beside him is his cousin, Wen Zhaodi. I got to know them on the way. Han Bai pointed at Qingyun and Wen Zhaodi and introduced them to Wu Yan and the rest. The two of them are also planning to enter the ancient battlefield, so I invited them to come along. At that time, we can take care of each other. Taking care of each other is one thing, but I'm afraid it's not very good to always let one side take care of the other. After hearing Han Bai's words, Ma Lei revealed a look of disdain and said sarcastically. The meaning of his words couldn't be more obvious. He was indirectly saying that if Qingyun and Wen Zhaodi were to follow them, they would have to take care of Qingyun and Wen Zhaodi. However, they weren't willing to take care of Qingyun and Wen Zhaodi. They wanted to use this to make Qingyun and Wen Zhaodi leave on their own accord. After hearing Ma Lei's words, Zhuoxing frowned slightly and said, Han Bai, bringing a person with a cultivation of level 5 and level 1 of divine power into the ancient battlefield is indeed an unknown choice. If we encounter any unforeseen circumstances, even if the four of us go all out, I'm afraid we won't be able to take care of their safety. This, after hearing Zhuoxing's words, Han Bai's brows furrowed as a sense of difficulty rose in his heart. Zhuoxing's words were true. The ancient battlefield could be said to be extremely dangerous. Bringing Qingyun and Wen Zhaodi into the ancient battlefield would indeed be quite troublesome. If they really encountered any danger, as Zhuoxing said, it would be useless even if the four of them went all out. However, he had already promised Qingyun and Wen Zhaodi previously. It wasn't his style to suddenly go back on his words. This demonic beast mount is not bad. It seems like it has some background. At this moment, while Han Bai was hesitating, Ma Lei had a surprised look on his face. He looked at the tyrannical snow beside Qingyun and said, Boy, this mount of yours looks pretty good. If you are willing to give this mount to me, perhaps I can consider bringing the two of you along. Give you my mount? After hearing Ma Lei's words, the expressions of Wen Zhaodi and Ba Shui changed. They looked at Ma Lei as if they were looking at an idiot. If you were to know that Lion Tyrant Snow was a half-revered realm expert, it was unknown whether he would still dare to say such words. Seeing Ma Lei's action, Qingyun looked at him unhappily. He walked to Han Bai's side and said, Brother Han, thank you for your good intentions. Since your friend doesn't welcome us, Zhaodi and I will leave first. Brother Mo, wait a moment. After hearing Qingyun's words, Han Bai quickly walked in front of Wu Yan and pleaded, Sister Wu Yan, I was the one who found Brother Mo and Lady Wen. They will follow us into the primordial battlefield, and I will be responsible for their safety. There's no need for the three of you to do anything. What do you think? Hearing Han Bai's words, Qingyun looked at Han Bai with even more admiration. After hearing Han Bai's words, Wu Yan frowned as hesitation rose in her heart. Since you've said so, then let them follow us. Wu Yan pondered for a moment and nodded in agreement to Han Bai's request. She then changed the topic and said, However, if they encounter any danger, we won't care if they live or die. Don't worry, we will take care of our own safety. You don't have to worry about it. In response to Wu Yan's cold words, Qingyun replied indifferently and expressed his thoughts. If not for Han Bai's face, he would have left with Wen Zhaodi. Besides your safety, We also have to inform you of the distribution of the treasures obtained in the primordial battlefield in advance. Just as Imo Qingyun finished speaking, Ma Lei, who was at the side, continued to provoke them. The two of you can follow us, but they have no right to distribute the treasures obtained in the primordial battlefield. After Ma Lei said this, not only did Imo Qingyun and Han Bai's expressions change, even Wu Lian frowned. Obviously, she also felt that Ma Lei's request was a little too much. Ma Lei, isn't this request of yours too much? Hearing Ma Lei's excessive request, Han Bai's face immediately showed displeasure as he questioned him. Ma Lei chose to ignore Han Bai's displeasure and said with a disdainful expression, "Humph. If the two of them are unwilling, they can go to the primordial battlefield by themselves. They don't have to follow us." You. After Han Bai heard this, he immediately pointed at Ma Lei angrily and was speechless. This Ma Lei was really too much. Sister Wu Lian, since this is the case, I can only follow Brother Imo and the rest. After pondering for a short while, Han Bai cupped his fists at Wu Lian and walked towards Imo Qingyun. Brother Imo, the two of you can rest assured. Since I, Han Bai, have said that I will follow you, I will definitely not leave you behind. Thank you. Hearing Han Bai's words, Imo Qingyun nodded gratefully and turned to the side. Since this is the case, Brother Han, let's go. All right. Han Bai nodded and walked quickly in front of Imo Qingyun, intending to lead Imo Qingyun and Han Bai into the primordial battlefield. Stop right there. Seeing that Han Bai was about to lead Imo Qingyun and Han Bai away, Ma Lei's face suddenly darkened, and he shouted at Imo Qingyun and the rest. Ma Lei, what else do you want? Hearing this, Han Bai stopped and turned to look at Ma Lei. His eyes were filled with anger. Although Han Bai was easy to talk to, it didn't mean that he wouldn't speak. Being made difficult by Ma Lei, he would naturally be angry. What's the matter? Han Bai, are you playing dumb with me? Seeing Han Bai's expression, Ma Lei curled his lips and sneered. Han Bai, don't tell me that you don't know the purpose of our gathering. Now that you're leading these two alone, are you trying to take all the spoils by yourself? After hearing Ma Lei's words, Wu Yin and Zuoxing's gazes turned cold as they looked at Han Bai. Their bodies emitted a cold, killing intent. At this moment, Wu Yin and the rest seemed to want to silence Han Bai so that they could protect their purpose of coming here. Oof. I, Han Bai, am not as shameless as you, Ma Lei. It's just a small ancient tomb. I, Han Bai, will not stoop to doing something as treacherous as this. Han Bai looked at Ma Lei's cautiousness with a mocking gaze as he spoke disdainfully to Ma Lei. Empty words have no proof. If you really promise that you won't go back, then swear an oath to me right now. Chapter 984. Ma Lei, don't go too far. Even a clay figurine had a temper. Under Ma Lei's insatiable greed, Han Bai finally got angry. Ma Lei's actions had crossed his bottom line, and he could no longer tolerate it. Why? You don't dare to swear an oath because you're guilty? Ma Lei did not take Han Bai's anger to heart at all. He continued to sneer at Han Bai. Get lost. Seeing Ma Lei's expression, without waiting for Han Bai to speak, Imo Qingyun impatiently yelled at him coldly. Wu Yin and the others felt a chill down their spines when they heard Imo Qingyun's yell. Imo Qingyun gave them the feeling that he was a ferocious beast, filling their hearts with fear. Then, the way they looked at Imo Qingyun changed. They wanted to see through Imo Qingyun. However, no matter how they looked at him, Imo Qingyun was still a level 5 divine power. There was nothing special about him. This feeling was simply too strange for them. Kid, you're courting death. Ma Lei's face darkened when he saw that Imo Qingyun, a level 5 divine power, dared to yell at him. Then, Ma Lei leaped up and threw a punch at Imo Qingyun. Ma Lei, you've gone too far. Han Bai's face darkened when he saw Ma Lei's action. He raised his hand to block Ma Lei's punch for Imo Qingyun. Bang! After a muffled sound, a powerful yuan power fluctuation burst out from Han Bai's and Ma Lei's palms. Han Bai and Ma Lei's bodies shook under the fluctuation of this yuan power, and they continuously retreated backward. Hanbai and Ma Lei's strength were similar. The two of them were pushed back more than 10 meters before they managed to stabilize their bodies. Hanbai, you can't protect this kid today. After Ma Lei steadied himself, he glanced at Hanbai with a gloomy expression. Then, he leaped up again and threw another punch at Mo Qingyan. Wu Yin frowned when she saw Ma Lei's action. She quickly raised her hand to stop Ma Lei and said, Ma Lei, stop. Sister Wu Yin, what are you? Ma Lei was confused when he saw Wu Yin stop his attack. He asked Wu Yin in return. He didn't understand. With the three of them working together, they were confident that they could kill Han Bai and the other two. Once they killed Mo Qingyun and the other two, they could keep the secret of the tomb. Why did Wu Yin stop him? Ma Lei was confused by Wu Yin's action. At that moment, before Ma Lei could finish speaking, Wu Yin raised her hand and interrupted him. She said in a deep voice, I trust Han Bai's character. I believe he won't do something as treacherous as that. Let the three of them go. Thank you, Sister Wu Yin. Han Bai thanked Wu Yin when he saw that she agreed to let the three of them leave. He turned and walked towards Mo Qingyun and said, Brother Mo, let's go. Mo Qingyun nodded and left with Han Bai with Wenjiaodi. Sister Wu Yin, why did you stop me? Ma Lei was confused when he saw Mo Qingyun and the other two walking away. He asked Wu Yin why she stopped him. That kid is dangerous. Wu Yin seemed to have expected Ma Lei to ask such a question. After Ma Lei spoke, she replied with a heavy tone, Although that kid is only at the 5th level of the God Realm, the feeling he gave me just now was even more terrifying than a peak God Realm expert. It made my heart palpitate from the bottom of my heart. This feeling is too strange, so I have no choice but to be careful. I had the same feeling just now. I thought I was wrong. I didn't expect Sister Wu Yin to have the same feeling. Hearing Wu Yin's words, Zhuxing revealed a solemn expression and voiced his thoughts. Wu Yin and Ma Lei's expressions froze when they heard Zhuxing's words. They could faintly feel that something was amiss. One person could be wrong. However, if two people had the same feeling at the same time, it would be very unusual. Perhaps Mo Qingyun was really dangerous. It was just that they hadn't realized it yet. Forget it. Let's not bother about them. Wu Yin thought hard, but to no avail. She didn't want to think about Mo Qingyun and the other two anymore. She said in a serious tone, Since Han Bai is left, let's set off too. We should head to the ancient tomb as soon as possible to avoid unnecessary changes. All right. Wu Yin and the other two didn't stay any longer. They got up and headed towards the ancient battlefield. When Wu Yin and the other two entered the ancient battlefield, Missouri Qingyun and the other two had already arrived at the entrance of the tunnel. They entered the ancient battlefield through the tunnel. As soon as Mo Qingyun entered the ancient battlefield, he realized that his vision had become much dimmer. His vision in the ancient battlefield was hazy, just like the weather before a thunderstorm. He could only see a distance of 1,000 meters in front of him. Apart from that, Mo Qingyun also felt that the activation of his Yuan power was greatly suppressed in the ancient battlefield. After this feeling appeared, Mo Qingyun realized that the ancient battlefield was an independent space, just like the space within the 5 directional small pagodas. However, the internal space of the ancient battlefield was larger and more stable than the internal space of the 5 directional small pagodas. Seeing Mo Qingyun's surprised expression, Han Bai revealed a grave expression and said, The ancient battlefield is an independent space. The origin source energy in it is also an independent entity. The origin source energy that we have comprehended can only be unleashed by 50%. In other words, we can only unleash 50% of our strength in the ancient battlefield. It seems that this ancient battlefield is indeed not simple. After hearing Han Bai's words, Mo Qingyun had a rough understanding of the ancient battlefield. If my guess is correct, Wu Yin and the rest should head east after entering the ancient battlefield. The three of us should head west. This way, we can avoid meeting them. It could also allow the martial artist's heart to be filled with righteousness, which would reduce the martial artist's mental state from being disturbed by external demons during the process of cultivation. Two such precious spiritual objects were here, but they were not harmed at all. This situation was a bit strange. In Mo Qingyun's opinion, the only reason for this was that there was a terrifying existence guarding nearby. Therefore, Mo Qingyun could not be anxious. He had to wait patiently and figure out the danger lurking in the dark. Next, time passed little by little. 2 hours, 4 hours, 16 hours, 1 day later. The vicinity of the evil demon fruit tree and righteous bamboo shoots was still as calm as before. There was no abnormality. However, the sense of crisis in Mo Qingyun's heart became several times stronger. Soon, after this feeling appeared, Mo Qingyun had an intuition that the danger lurking in the dark was about to emerge. At this time, Hanbai was puzzled. He turned to look at Mo Qingyun and asked, "Brother Mo, we have been here for an entire day. If there is really danger, why don't I feel it at all?" "Brother Han, the reason you can't feel the danger is because your mental state cultivation is not at the level to deal with it." In response to Han Bai's puzzled words, Mo Qingyun showed a dignified expression and explained to him, "If I'm not wrong, the other party is already somewhat impatient. What we need to do now is to waste time with him until he can't take it anymore." Now that Mo Qingyun's mental state cultivation had surpassed the sovereign realm, it was normal for him to feel the danger. After hearing Mo Qingyun's explanation, Han Bai did not ask anymore. He understood the meaning of Mo Qingyun's words. Sure enough, just as Mo Qingyun's words fell, a tiger shadow covered in dark runes flew out from the black, evil demon luo fruit tree, emitting the terrifying aura of a quasi-venerable expert. Is this the tree spirit of the black, evil demon luo fruit tree? Looking at the tiger's shadow covered in dark runes, Han Bai was shocked. He guessed the origin of the other party. No, this is not the tree spirit of the black, evil demon luo fruit tree. It should be the vengeful spirit of the almighty demon who gave birth to the black, evil demon luo fruit tree. After hearing Han Bai's words, Mo Qingyun corrected his guess in a heavy tone and said, "It seems that there should be the corpse of an almighty demon under the black, evil demon luo fruit tree. Just a wisp of consciousness is comparable to a quasi-venerable expert." After hearing Mo Qingyun's words, Han Bai was stunned. He felt his mind go blank. In his eyes, a quasi-venerable expert was already a near-invincible existence. Just a wisp of consciousness was comparable to a quasi-venerable expert. What kind of powerful existence was that? Han Bai already had no idea. Such an existence completely exceeded the scope of his knowledge.